What's going on, guys? Untitled,
It's,
unfocused.
it's your boys, Raymond Tyler. Ah, got him.
Yes, who's
Okay.
who? You'll never know. Remember that bit? Um,
The bits never get old.
so let's just. We got a lot to talk about this time, Ray. We got some good Falcon Winter Soldier episode happening. We got
Spicy.
we got Cells at Work, which is whatever. But then we got Wonder Egg, which there's a lot,
There's a
a,
lot to unpack
a
in one
lot,
direct.
a lot happened in those last two episodes. So, um, but yeah, I figure we would start with Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's usually what we start with.
Yeah, we do start with
Um,
the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
so what'd you think of this episode, or episode 4?
It's a wonderful episode.
Yeah, it is. It was good.
It's a great one.
Um,
There's a lot to go over in this one.
so the first thing that came to my mind when I just thought of the episode was the Wakanda stuff.
Mhm.
We saw more of that, which is cool, which, goes back to them, opening up the universe, which is always great.
Mhm.
But then just showing how much of like a beast all of the Wakandian soldiers are. How like
The Dora Milaje are like a kind of a force to be reckoned with.
yeah, they're no joke.
They're literally the King's Guard, and they just like wander around.
Yeah,
Well, at least they're on patrol for him, specifically Zemo. But yeah,
right,
literally the
right.
King's Guard. It's like, yeah.
And it was also kind of, I mean, this is kind of off of that, but what we talked about last time, the ending to the last episode was Bucky meeting the one who I don't remember her name, so I apologize, but um and it was just like, yeah, they don't forget. Like, you remember that Zemo is the reason that their king is dead. And that's
Hmm.
exactly what they said this time too, where it was like, no, we gave you 8 hours, which was more than generous,
Hmm.
and that's up. We gotta take him. That's just the way it is, you know.
And Zemo just stealthily gets his way out of there.
Yeah, he just. I knew that was gonna happen too, because there's a big fight, and then he just closes. He just goes in the bathroom, and then I think he goes to like the sewer or something.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, the
he'll be back, or maybe he won't. Maybe that was his part of the show, and
it could
that'll be
be.
him like coming back in future Marvel.
It could be. Yeah, I mean, because
Hmm.
he had. I mean, yeah, this. You were right. There's a lot to unpack in this episode, but like, my favorite part about that scene is just showing how the like power levels, um, in regards to John Walker, because like we talked about before how John Walker, I think for the most part, deserves or like he's done everything a regular human can do to deserve the Captain America shield, right?
Hmm.
um but even with that, he's no match for those soldiers, like those Wakandian soldiers who have trained their whole lives for this kind of thing, and they're real, like they're actually in it, whereas
Yeah,
he
the best they got, like is vibranium weapons. They
yeah,
they don't need. They haven't even drunk off the leaf. Um,
exactly. And like they weren't using like any, I mean just look back to like Shuri and stuff, how like their technology is so evolved. They didn't even use any of that. They just used,
no, they just did vibranium spears.
yeah, and they're just pure athleticism to just take him down. It you know what it reminded me of? You remember in Infinity War when Thanos just goes to town on
On
Hulk,
Hulk.
and it's just
Yeah,
like he's just better. He didn't use a stone, nothing like that. He just was a better fighter than him.
it's like Hulk. Yeah, you're all strength. Yeah, that's what you are. But like
Mhm.
apparently they just wanted Thanos to be like, yeah, this man just brawls, dude. He's
Yeah, he
he's
brawls.
trained.
That's a good word. Um, but yeah, I think that was probably my favorite part of the whole episode is the John Walker stuff. I think we've seen him kind of deteriorate over the series, and
Hmm.
at the beginning I did kind of feel bad for him, of like, well, I mean, being new Cap is a big responsibility, but
Hmm.
then as the series goes on, especially this episode, we just see him break down, and like he's not ready for it. He's not anywhere close to Steve Rogers or even Falcon, of just
Hmm.
like what kind of person he is, because um, he eventually does take the serum, which
Hmm.
I think most people guessed that was gonna happen. Um, and like they said, the serum just brings out more of who you are, and I think you said it last time where um, he's the type of guy to do anything he has to like finish the mission.
Yeah.
and that's what he did
They even
here.
like proved that like later in this episode with the statement of him like doing what he did in Afghanistan.
Hmm.
So obviously hinting at like potential war crime status.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Where that was another really good part of the episode was his conversation with Battlestar or Lamar, and it
Hmm.
was just like, dude, we've done some stuff. Like we earned those medals, but if people knew what we really did, I don't know if they would look so favorably on us. And yeah, they didn't say it explicitly, but yeah, it's probably some some like war crime, some terrible stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously they did what they had to do to survive, and they got
Right,
out of it.
right, yeah,
Hmm.
and that is the struggle. Um,
Hmm. Again, showing that the characters, I think every character here are like damaged. That's such a good way to put it.
mhm.
All of our main characters are damaged somehow.
Yeah, they all have their own baggage that they're trying to deal with.
Mhm.
Um, what else? There was just another scene where I hated John Walker was when Falcon was talking to Carly, and I
Mhm.
was like, oh, he's actually like talking her down. He's actually picking her brain and getting at why she's
Mhm.
doing what she's doing. And maybe, I don't know if Falcon or anyone had the ability to completely turn her and like,
Mhm.
okay, I'll stop doing all this. I'll stop the movement. But like he was the closest one. And then John Walker comes in. 10 minutes haven't even passed. He couldn't even do that. And then destroys everything, destroys the trust. And I don't know, that's just another way he's different than Steve. Like Steve would have taken the Falcon approach and been like, okay, let's talk this through. We don't have to go in with violence all the time.
Mhm. Uh, it was pointed out. I mean, I think it was slightly obvious, but like John Walker is kind of like a modern America, and how like that would be represented militaristically.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I see that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't think about that until you just said
Like a
it.
post World War II.
Right. Yeah, and
Mhm.
like now we're like a superpower and we kind of more proactive, more just like, oh, we're just gonna take care of this before it even becomes a
Mhm.
problem,
Mhm.
and definitely with violence, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it kind of like obviously like that works hand in hand with like Steve.
Hmm.
You know, even though it was World War II, he was like a symbol of hope and unity, like bringing
Yes,
the nation together,
yes.
bringing the world together.
Whereas John is more like desperation, like
So we need to stop this before it even starts.
right,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, what else do we got, dude? And then yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's more stuff, but the ending with him killing that dude was just like,
It's beautiful, by the way.
oh yeah, it was shot amazingly, with like the framing and the blood on the shield, and
Mhm.
it was great. But like that's another thing that Steve would never do. Steve would never
Mhm.
pummel someone to death in town square with everyone recording him. Like that wouldn't be the way it would go.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, Again, we understand where he's coming from and why he did it, but it doesn't mean, hey, man, like maybe you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I mean,
You give him some credit. It's like
I
your
totally
best friend died. You're angry,
I totally get you getting upset over that, but
but you're Captain America.
yeah, one, you're Captain America. You're not supposed to act like that. I mean, Steve lost people. You know what I mean? He didn't go berserk. And then two, that's like your friend died because of you. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you took the serum and then you started wilding out on everyone, and that forced them to have to use their violence to their peak abilities to like combat yours because you're now a super soldier, and there's a casualty. Again, going back to the Falcon scene, if you just let Falcon do his job, because I get he's Captain America now, right? But
Mhm.
like Falcon and Bucky have been doing this for
Years.
years.
Bucky, literally many, many, many
He's
years.
literally he's like 110 years old, like, and you're Captain America, right? But and he's also a soldier. He was just a regular soldier before this, so he's done his time as well. But I don't know. I feel like there is some
Everyone
sort
else
of,
has also done their time, I guess. It's like,
yeah, and there's just some sort of seniority. Like we've done this before. Like we've literally saved the world. We didn't just win battles or even win wars. We've
mhm.
saved the world. We've saved other worlds multiple times, and even on a smaller scale, like it's even like Falcon said, where he said, "This is what I do. Like I talk to people and I talk them down off of that ledge, and I get in their mind and I try to see how, why they're doing what they're doing and try to do it the peaceful way.
Yeah,
This is
that's what he was doing
yeah,
before.
exactly. This is my specialty. This is what I do." And then you come in all big with the shield, and it's like, what? Nothing good's gonna come of this. It's just bad decision making. I remember going back to that conversation with him and Lamar said, "Oh no, you always make the right decisions in the heat of battle." And I was just thinking, I don't think he does. I think there's a couple decisions in this episode that he was in over his head. You know, he could have done very differently. He has a beard now too. That's how you know his character's going crazy. Because in the beginning, it didn't. You ever think about that?
Wait a minute.
um. Yeah.
No, not you too, Tyler.
I think
Okay, I'm good.
I don't know. I think you're right. I think we are gonna see Zemo again. I don't think that's the end. Because he is inherently tied to the super soldier stuff.
He just wants to, like, I think if anything, like, this is my opinion. Like, Zemo looks at this and he's like, I don't want any super soldier other than Cap. The Cap is like fine. He's the pure specimen. He will
Right.
never. He's like the perfect person to ever have the serum. And I
Like,
think he's also looking at Falcon that way right now.
well, yeah, because I mean, he's talked about it a couple of times, but like, he has this whole ideology about super soldiers and how they shouldn't exist because of what they turn
What do you
into,
mean?
and then what like
Yeah.
the people around them turn into, as a result.
Mhm.
Um,
Like he
um,
lets Bucky be because Bucky's like the end of an era, you know.
right,
Like Bucky
yeah,
was merely a tool that was being used, so he lets
exactly.
him. And he looks at Falcon, I think now, and he's considering maybe he could be a super soldier.
Yeah,
Because the
because
moment of that instant denial, he's like, that's what you kind of look for.
well, yeah, that's like certainty. That's like Falcon knows exactly who he is and who he wants to be. Um, which is yeah why they keep referencing Cap, because they keep saying that everyone kind of goes crazy when they have the serum, um,
Hmm.
because it just brings out like the inner you and it just amplifies it, which is why John crazy, wild, don't know what he's on about. But Steve, that never happened to him because Steve is such a good person. He's always helping out. He's very smart, very good
Like
leader.
he never wanted the serum; it was more thrust upon him.
Yeah, it was more like, it was more like he needed it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to be a soldier. I mean, if you remember in the first Avenger, he was just
Hmm.
this like scrawny kid, but he wanted nothing more than to like serve his country. And so they were like, "Hey, we got this new thing. It might kill you, but if it works out, then you'll be a soldier. You'll be able to do what you want to do." And that's not how like the Flag Smashers are with them taking the
Hmm.
serum. It's like I kind of understand their, I don't know, their fight, I guess, where their whole thing is once the snap happened, the world kind of came together to help each other out.
But the world
And
can still continue to come together after the snap was
right,
reversed.
and then and then and then it unsnapped, and everyone came back, and they were like, okay, yeah, we don't need none of that no more. Everyone can just go back to what they were doing before, which people were obviously more selfish, and like the borders went back up, and because business as usual, right? And so they're like, hey, the world was a lot, maybe Thanos did nothing wrong, maybe Thanos was right. And so that's I guess their fight, which I mean they can't win in any way. They're going around like blowing towns up, like
Hmm.
their cause doesn't really have an end, which I think is their problem. Like I don't know what they plan to do. Like what is their end goal? What is the Flag Smashers' goal? Because right now they're just killing a bunch of people.
Hmm.
And it's like, is it just to prove a point? Because that's literally terrorism.
Yeah. Also, like I will say, like to be bold, the entire idea of having nations and borders is wild. Okay. Like there's imaginary lines that dictate where you are,
You know, I completely agree. Yeah, yeah. I
and like
mean,
maybe even crossing into a line could consider like a crime. A line that doesn't exist, by the way. It's just something that they created. People created.
sure, yeah.
Hmm.
And like where like the laws are completely different. You can take 5 steps in one direction, and it's now illegal to like be who you are.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
It's crazy. That's like
Yeah,
a big brain concept that most people actually just don't. That they take for granted.
sure, sure, sure. Yeah.
Let's
Um,
say like you're in the states, dude. Like there's a big difference between what state you're in some cases.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because like even with that, it gets weird with like the concept of a federal government and a state government.
Hmm.
It's like there's different rules for where you are, but some of them are the same.
Hmm.
It's weird. It doesn't make sense.
It's wild.
And like I get it. It's like it can go back to like ancient civilizations or even like tribes. You know, different
Hmm.
people, different ways of thinking. But like at this point, the world is so connected. Because like maybe in like the year 1000,
Hmm.
it kind of made sense. But
Hmm.
like because going across the globe, very very difficult. But now you can be anywhere in the world within a day, less than a day. I don't know how long it takes to get to Australia. I think it's like 12 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like the world is one more than it's ever been, um, like geographically.
Hmm.
But just I don't know, people, man, people are crazy, you know?
It's wild, dude. It's super. It's weird just considering that like governments are just like completely different
Yeah.
entirely. And it's like, how are you the way that you are? Why are you the way that you are? And like, there's like basic things that you should expect across all governments.
Hmm. But it's just not true because of
Hmm.
exactly like you're saying, because the separation and the
Hmm.
I don't know, yeah, the isolation even. I mean, we hear stories about like China, right? Which I don't know how many of them are true, but like some of the horror stories of their government and um, how the people act accordingly to it is like alien to us,
Hmm.
and like it shouldn't be like that. And I don't know which one is better. I've never lived in China, so I don't know the reality
Hmm.
of it, but you know what I mean?
It's a different wormhole entirely.
Yeah.
Like I can understand island nations, you know what I mean? But like, and like understand like separating by different like tribes and people.
Hmm.
But then when you hit like states, right? Like, what was the determination for like we own this part of the land? Is it just that you're richer, or like that your land didn't appear and that you're talking with these guys who are your friends and they're not your friends?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think money had to do with it. You know. Um,
Mhm.
but even then, like I don't remember. Have we? That's not something we learn in school. Why
No,
borders
it didn't.
exist? Of like why?
Like I understand like again borders by tribe, borders like island nations and all that stuff because that's very simple to understand. You know what I mean? Like simple borders.
Mm,
It's like these tribes are here, so like they're obviously separated like this.
yeah.
Hmm.
But like we've never learned why the New York State's border is exactly where it is.
Hmm.
It's just like oh that's just how it is. It's like
Like they
why?
just made an agreement, right? And like they're like this is the land where we're having here.
Yeah.
But why was there an agreement in the first place? Like, are you telling me like they fought over the land? But then like, why wasn't there just like a bigger group like governing over this area?
Right.
Was
Exactly.
were they just having like different beliefs entirely? And it's like just like,
Or like even with like the Louisiana Purchase, it was like a
hmm
third of our country or something. It's like why was that eventually broken up?
it's like yeah. And then you have like the entire West, which is like just a big giant blob before it was separated.
Yeah. Just a big whole thing.
And who decided the separations there? You know what I mean? The government obviously decided the separations there.
Yeah.
But it's like yoink.
I mean, it just goes back to money, right?
It's all
People have more
money, right?
money. They decide to I don't know make the borders depends on the resources they need and all that garbage.
And like I think back at it now. Wars have a lot to do with it as well. Because like wars to reclaim land. Like what land was like well quote unquote lost, and then like oh, that war's over, and they're like, okay, we'll give you back this set of land.
Yeah. I mean, I
But
think
like, why
that
was the land being fought for in the first place? Like, was it originally yours in the first place and just took it from you, or are you just greedy and you just wanted the land?
right. I mean, even in our case, like none of this land was ours,
Yeah,
so it's like we just took it. Like, what's going on there?
it's, like again, like it's wild. Like, why are we just deciding that this just stays? Is it because we're too lazy to change it?
Yeah, I mean, even the fact that we need to own land. You
Hmm.
know, I mean, wasn't that the whole thing with the Native Americans back in the
Hmm.
day of like we don't own anything, we just use
Yeah,
it
this is
because it's
yeah.
there. You know, and then we come along and we're like, nah, this is
Europeans are
mine.
like, what? No, 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 you are doing it wrong.
Yeah, this dirt is mine. It's like it doesn't have to be. It can just be ours. You know.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But Falcon Winter Soldier, yeah.
Yeah. um. Let's see.
That's just Flag Smasher talk right there.
Yeah, Flag Smasher stuff, basically.
Yeah,
um. So we got two
that's stuff that'll
episodes.
keep you up.
Yeah. We got 2 episodes left, right? So this is episode 4. Just by nature is kind of like supposed to be the low.
It's this coming in, and then like this the like, maybe this is the climax. This is the climax of the show. This is the peak, the big point. And from here, it's going downward. You know what I mean? Because episode 3 didn't feel like it hit a peak. This felt like it's definitely like the peak part of the show, the pivotal point that it all flips.
Oh yeah, like the
Hmm.
yeah the turning point basically.
Hmm.
Zemo escaped. We had John Walker kill someone in front of everyone. We had
Hmm.
Carly almost die. So yeah,
Hmm.
and Lamar did die. So yeah. So I think this is a very big turning point, and then 5, the next episode will kind of set up.
This is 5 and 6, falling action and like resolution and all that stuff will start coming in.
Yeah. I think next episode, I think the biggest thing is gonna be John Walker and like what we do with him,
Hmm.
because like he like so I saw an argument online, right, where it was like Falcon and Bucky have both killed people in the series,
Yes.
but like we don't really care. Whereas with John
It's,
Walker,
it's, it's, it's the way you do it though. Like has Cap has killed people. Let's not like put that out there,
oh yeah,
okay?
he has, yeah.
He's killed people. But he would never kill someone publicly
Okay,
if he didn't have to.
yeah,
That man was already down and could have been detained.
yeah. Honestly, I didn't think of it like that. But yeah, you're right. The like public aspect of it, where like in the first episode, Falcon throwing people out of helicopters left and right,
Mhm.
but that was like one hell. That was like
Yeah,
a group.
that's like a military grade operation. Only the
Yeah,
military sees that.
right. And then yeah, you're
Hmm.
right. John Walker just brutally murdering that man just next to a fountain in front of
Public fountain, everyone's there.
yeah, like a couple
Enjoying their
hundred
time.
people are recording
They
him.
see you come down a building, running after this guy, beating him up, and then executing him.
That when they were running and they like pretty much got to the fountain and John
Mhm.
threw the shield at his back, that was like ooh, that hurt. That didn't feel good. He throws that shield very fast.
It's like let's not say Cap didn't kill people because he did.
Oh
Cap
yeah,
killed
yeah.
a bunch of Nazis,
But like
not good people, but I mean, and he
this
killed Hydra as well, Hydra, and then stuff in Avengers happened as well. Give him some credit. He's not like he does not he can't kill people, but it's like he would rather not do it.
and this was personal.
Mhm.
You mentioned, I've already talked about it, but like him finishing a mission, this had nothing to do with a mission.
Mhm.
He went rogue in this moment of like,
Mhm.
oh, you kill my friend, I'm gonna kill you, and
Mhm.
even I don't know. I guess it's kind of flipped, but Steve mentioned before how like we don't trade lives,
Mhm.
where it's like we don't just kill one for one. That's not that that won't end a war. That's
Mhm.
literally impossible to win a war just by killing for trading blows basically.
Yeah, blood for blood. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just gonna keep going. Um, I don't know what I was gonna say. Okay, so this happened, right? That was like the big cliffhanger of the episode. Him killing that dude. Um, do you think he runs away in this moment? Do you think that he's cognizant enough to be like, "Oh, I'm Captain America. I shouldn't have done that. I'm gonna turn myself in." Do you think that he just starts murking people from that moment? Like
Honestly, I'd love to see a Homelander from him, but like,
Homelander would be nuts if he just goes crazy and just starts killing the crowd.
yeah.
That'd be crazy. Yeah.
Uh, I mean, that would be funny in my opinion because Homelander never actually does it, which is crazy.
Oh yeah. I know exactly
He
what.
never actually does it.
Yeah, and I know what scene you're talking about too. When they're like the press or like
Yeah,
the
and he's just like,
yeah. I believed it too in that moment. I was like, oh, he just did that, and then it
yeah,
cut, and he was just like thinking it, and I was
yeah,
like, he could have very well done that, you know?
yeah. But he knows himself. The thing is, like Homelander. There's too much comparisons with like Walker and the boys with Homelander,
Mm-hmm.
but like Homelander has like this sense of self, right? Where he understands himself as a public persona too much. You know what I mean? He's like, I can't do things. I have to limit myself. You know, he understands he has limitations.
But like even with that, towards the end of the second season, he kind of lost himself a little bit because
A
he,
little bit.
there was a couple moments where he got caught. Like even I don't know, went to some, I'm guessing like third world country. I don't know if you remember
Yeah, he
this.
just like,
Yeah, and
yeah,
he lasered someone, but the laser went through the bad guy into a good guy, and he
yeah,
was just like, well, casualty, and he got
yeah,
he got recorded, and it's like, I feel like you could have done more to at least look
yeah,
like you regretted your action there,
hmm
and it got recorded. So,
yeah,
um, but yeah, no, yeah, I think that I mean, Homelander's also been a hero for a lot longer than John Walker has, so I think that
hmm
kind of comes with
literally
him
been
being
doing it
more,
for his entire
yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah, literally. Um, but like even in like the public eye, I think he's done it for so long that
He's so trained in it, that's like something that comes natural.
yeah, like he doesn't even have to think about his surroundings and like knowing people are watching him at all times. Whereas
Like, yeah,
John just started, so you know, even yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see what he does after this.
hmm
If he crashes basically like a sugar crash, how you're really
hmm
high and then you just
he just like comes down.
yeah,
He could
and
go harder,
he could
or he could
yeah.
act like nothing happened.
Also, he could act like nothing happened, like I didn't just do that.
Like this is a day in life.
Right. Um, Another interesting thing about that scene is Falcon and Bucky are in the crowd. Like they
Yeah,
watched
they're
him
in the
do
crowd.
that.
You watch them. They're like, we're just watching him, dude.
So like I could see them in that moment being in shock of like, whoa, he just did that, and then they snap out of it and they go after him and they,
Yeah.
not try to kill him, but like try to detain him,
They
arrest
take like
him.
Bucky takes that shield, dude. He's like,
Yeah,
this ain't for you, Chief.
Bucky takes the shit. Yeah.
Like, you've tarnished my friend's shield. I don't think I could ever respect you ever again.
Do you think by the end of this, Falcon will take the shield?
I don't know, man. Like I feel like it's all like, obviously we want to say it's setting up for that, but like he's taking the shield. I think Falcon honestly may think he's still not ready for it.
I was gonna say obviously John Walker dies, but that's not true. He might just get like arrested, I guess, and, like put in some super secret facility. Um,
Held by Zemo.
Zemo, yeah, that would be interesting. Um, but yeah, I was just thinking like if Falcon doesn't take the mantle of Captain America, how can like would he just take the shield? Would Bucky just take the shield because he couldn't take it and then try to give it to someone else?
Plot
Because
twist. America comes from the moon and takes the
it
shield.
comes from the moon. Yeah, yeah. That um, artificial fan theory rings true.
Just comes from the moon. He's like, this is mine, and he leaves.
Yeah, said how I was wrong.
He's actually just hanging out with Fury on like whatever planet the Skrulls are on.
Oh yeah. They're doing whatever they're doing for. I think that's gonna be like Secret Invasion, right?
That's what people are saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I think that'll be where most of the theories go. Is like, what does John Walker do? How do Falcon and Bucky react? And then
I would love if they found a way to like do the 3As and bring one of those in here.
what do you mean?
Was it 3As? It was android aliens and what?
Oh yeah. It was and wizards. It wasn't A's.
Oh, wasn't A's?
Yeah, it
They could have
was.
found A word, dude.
Yeah,
Big three.
apprentice, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think we're gonna?
Apprentice magician. Okay.
Do you think we're gonna see any more like cameos?
Maybe. Not surprised.
I mean, I feel like we have already been spoiled a little bit of like Sharon Carter and all the Zemo, the Wakandan people, Rhodes.
Melange, Rhodey.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, maybe there isn't one in the big three. That'd be nice if they brought that back because it was in episode 1.
Yeah, I mean they did mention
Android
it.
alien wizards. Yeah.
They did mention it, and they just kind of threw it in as like a joke. But it's possible. Yeah.
Like they just come in at the end and they're like, yeah, this is it.
I mean, we still do have the power broker.
What if Ultron comes up, dude?
Ultron. yeah. Vision didn't actually kill Ultron in the end. He spared his life.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
That'd be sick. Ultron came back with Zemo.
That'd be quite the team. we still do have the power broker who we've never met.
Who knows who's the power broker? Who knows? It could be Sharon. It could not be Sharon. Literally, who knows?
That was another thing I saw where people were pointing out that they referenced the power broker as a he.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are thinking that Marvel is doing that to throw us off.
Mm-hmm. Again, the power broker could just be an actual guy.
It could be. It could be a new character.
It just like just a dude. And you all are falling for Mephisto again, dude.
It's dude. If the power broker is Mephisto, I am not watching any Marvel stuff ever again.
That's a lie. You're locked in for Loki.
Ah, dude, Loki looks so good. Moving into that, Ray.
Oh, of course, Mr. Master of Segways.
So Loki, right? We got a new trailer. I actually don't know if we've gotten.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So it looks like this show is gonna be him going around fixing a bunch of stuff, right? That's what it looks like. He's
fixing time in the parallel universe or in all universes.
Yeah, so that's where I'm kind of confused, and I think that it'll be explained in the show, but like he's fixing time. Is it in just one universe? Is he like hopping to other dimensions or like a multiverse situation? I'm not quite sure.
Also, another thing that's really cool about it is that this is like Loki before all his big development with Thor.
Mm-hmm.
This is still backstabbing Loki as we all love and remember.
Yep, because
the only thing he's received is a big Hulk smash.
Yeah. So that is another interesting aspect of it where he is still Avengers Loki. We didn't even get like Ragnarok or nothing like that yet. Not even close.
Yeah, this is just pure Avengers Loki. Just right out the tower.
But something cool about that.
Didn't even get to pretend to be Odin.
Yeah, he didn't even get there yet. That was a few more movies until we got that. But one cool thing about that is that they can kind of do another thing with him, like have another path. So we've already seen our Loki.
What he could be,
Yeah, exactly. And they could get like real different, with how they develop his character. And like now instead of us getting that development through Thor being very persistent and not giving up on him, we now get it through him essentially like fixing all of his wrongs that he's made over however long it's been.
Maybe even being a better trickster because of that.
Maybe, yeah. Our Loki didn't really do a whole lot in terms of going to a bunch of other places, meeting a bunch of other people. He just kind of stayed in Asgard and wanted to rule there. You already said like him pretending to be Odin, like that was kind of his thing. But this one, bunch of different places, doing a lot of different things. You know.
Hmm.
Um,
It's a different can of worms there.
how do you feel about Owen Wilson?
I'm excited for him being Mobius.
Dude, I'm excited. Yeah,
I hope his last line is "Wow."
I can't.
They just hold it for like the last episode, and he's like, "Wow." It's like his reaction to Loki doing something. Is like, "Wow."
People will lose their minds if he says "wow." Um,
He knows what he's known for too. It's like
yeah. I mean, he has to be self-aware at this
it's
point.
self-aware. Like he's like it's been years. I want an Owen Wilson wow done right though. Like not just like a wow. It's like I wanted like the nice heat of the moment wow.
He's just like a little too aggressive with it.
It's just not like he's doing it on purpose, but like obviously they're all done on purpose because of the script, right? But it's like
Right.
it just flows naturally and doesn't feel forced. It's like wow.
Um. Yeah, I can't. Whenever I hear him, I can't not hear him from Cars. Like whenever I hear his voice, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's Lightning
Life is a
McQueen.
beach. You just keep driving.
Dude, that had to be one of the worst lines in a movie ever. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think you understand what it could mean, but it's
Like I understand what they're going for,
yeah.
but the line itself doesn't convey that.
That was more for adults that just flows over the heads of children.
Yeah, yeah, because children will be like, oh yeah, haha, awesome. Um, did you see that one shot, the one cap that everyone is talking about from the Loki trailer? The
Where he's
one,
using magic, the one they're talking about.
the one where it looks like he's sitting next to Black Widow. Are you now looking up the trailer to?
I'm trying to pull it up on my phone and see if I can actually see it because I'm too lazy to.
It's like 80 to 90% of the way through the trailer. There's just like a quick cut, and it looks like he's sitting next to Black Widow. So while Ray's looking that up, so the issue with that cut is though the issue with that scene is that how would that make sense, And we're going further than, oh well, Black Widow's dead, so obviously he couldn't see her, right? We don't know how the shows work, and he could be going to other, the whole multiverse situation that Marvel is just milking. But even if we just look past the fact that she's dead, why would Loki be talking to Black Widow? Like, what would they be talking about? Like, they've literally only talked once, and that was in Avengers when Loki was in a cell and Black Widow was trying to figure out what his plan was. And
I did see the frame. I did pull it up.
yeah, so it looks,
It's like they're sitting on two rocks or whatever. It appears to be Black Widow, but they're like looking out at something.
yeah, which
Doesn't have to be Black Widow, but it looks like it could be.
yeah, so in my mind, that's another thing that Marvel is doing to try to throw us off and be like, oh, Black Widow, but it's not really. It'll be some other person. I saw a really funny comment that, I don't know how serious they were because, it's the internet, but they they said it was a female version of Loki. And I was like, that would be funny. It was just
I mean, it is there's like what is they said Loki variant is what they said
yeah,
in the trailer.
exactly. Yeah.
There could be other Lokis out there. So
Yeah, I mean, if it's, multiverse, there's an infinite number of realities, you know what I mean? So it's possible. Yeah, man, I think that this show is gonna be really good. I think that it's gonna be even weirder than WandaVision. I think that it looks bigger, like just the art direction and like the cinematography of the show. I think is better than both WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier. But that's just from the trailer, so I don't know what the show will actually be. But like, it seems like it's hitting on every note, and there's nothing about this trailer so far that doesn't that disappoints, because all the shots look good. Loki looks great. Owen Wilson is a surprise. I don't know him from anything else besides Cars and Marley and Me. So we'll see what kind of actor or what kind of character he plays. What kind of energy he gives in this show. Um,
I'm excited for Loki though. Loki's gonna be getting hyped.
so kind of a I got one more thing for you, Ray. Do you think that this show, like, what implications do you think the show will have on the universe? Because we got WandaVision, obviously, going into Doctor Strange. You know, she might
Hmm.
become. I mean, she could very well be like the next villain of the
Hmm.
MCU. And then we got Falcon Winter Soldier, which isn't over yet, but we do have that build in the world. You know,
I think it's more like Scarlet Witch is always destined to become a villain. Is that like it's just something that happens?
right. Yeah, I mean
Hmm.
that's literally her character, right? That's like
Hmm.
her legend. You know.
Yeah, it's like no matter what, you're always going to be like eventually ending up on like the bad side,
Hmm. And then
just
we
due
have
to your nature. It's like Jean Grey all over again.
oh
It's
sure
like
sure
Phoenix is like yeah that's in your path. You're always going to be ending up like this formidable force that we can't stop.
right yeah
Mhm.
it's gonna like deteriorate
Yeah.
eventually. And then we have
Mhm.
Falcon Winter Soldier, which is like, you know, telling us more of like the post blip world, and
Mhm.
then you know, building out this super soldier stuff. It's bringing back some characters with Wakanda, Sharon Carter, but like
Loki could lead into Eternals,
Eternals. Okay,
mhm,
okay,
which is
yeah,
kind of a big brain idea. It could lead into Eternals. Um,
it is. Yeah, because Eternals, I feel like, is the craziest movie, or at least the idea of this
the
movie.
cast of the movie is just like, ridiculously stacked on purpose. By the way,
Oh yeah,
they stacked the
definitely.
cast on purpose because these characters are only going to be here coming like just this once.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine we're never gonna see these characters again.
Yeah, like these characters are, I'm assuming, only going to be here just this one movie, and that's it.
Hmm.
So they stack the cast as ridiculously as possible.
This is honestly like kind of putting to the side Infinity War and Endgame because those are like obvious exclusions.
Hmm.
Um, Eternals might be their most ambitious movie they've ever done, just from a story perspective. To like have to explain that to us of what an Eternal is and like how they like, you know, I'm not super clear on them, but they like basically create like the universe. You know, there's these like cosmic beings, you know, and like their like existence spans like millions of years or whatever, you know, like for them to be able to explain this, and like I don't even know what the story would be. Like I don't even know what this movie's about other than it's about the Eternals. Um, yeah, no, I could definitely see that like with Loki going around, hopping around, messing with time. Um, I thought there was also rumors that Loki was gonna lead into Doctor Strange. I don't know how that would
Also a
work.
possibility, yeah.
Um, but I guess it just goes with like the multiverse stuff. Um,
So let me check the cast again. So we have Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, Kumail Nanjiani, Lauren Ridloff, Brian Tyree Henry, Salma Hayek, Leah McHugh, Don Lee, Kit Harington, and Barry Keegan.
yeah, man. Yeah, that the cast is crazy. It reminds me of like the Suicide Squad cast. It's got like John Cena and Margot Robbie and other people. Still one dude from Walking Dead. I don't remember his name. Or the one dude from Guardians of the Galaxy, Yondu. Don't remember his name.
Yeah. Okay, so like looking here, so the Eternals are an immortal alien race created by Celestials who live on Earth for over 7,000 years, to protect humanity from the deviants, their counterparts.
It's a
That's what
lot
they're
of
going with.
words, a lot of terms.
Basically, they've been placed on Earth and they've been just living here for thousands of years.
So Ego was a celestial.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then like obviously like Star Lord, half Celestial.
right.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. So Ray, moving on to our other, you know, we kind of spoke a little bit about Black Widow. They
Hmm.
dropped a new trailer this past week, and yeah, man, you know, I think that this Black Widow trailer, you know, Black Widow, the project I'm least excited for, just because it's a character that we've already seen for 10 years and
Hmm.
she's dead, But while I think like half, like probably like 70% of this trailer is stuff we've already seen before, something that I didn't know about, and if you did, um, I don't know, I guess you maybe caught it, but they showed a lot of like young Natasha stuff.
Hmm.
Like she's a kid, and like I didn't know they were gonna play with that at all. I thought like we were gonna start with her getting
Already,
into
yeah.
the like
Hmm.
red room, right? That's what it was, or like the Scarlet Room or something, whatever that's called,
Hmm.
and like her training to be an assassin. But it looks like we're gonna see even younger than that, where her just her and her family,
Hmm.
whatever story that is.
Obviously, I assume it's for building it up. You know what I mean? So like, the one line in the trailer saying like, it's what not what, like the world wants you to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's like who you yourself want you for yourself or whatever they're going with that. You know.
Right. Yeah.
So it's obviously gonna start with her childhood, how she, like her parents are raising her, how she, like they want her to become, and obviously when she's like being trained to become an assassin, what they want her to become. Before obviously, ultimately, endgame, she makes her own decision of what she really is.
Right. Yeah. Because she has
Hmm.
talked about that before. Of like, she always just kind of plays her role. She's just
Hmm.
kind of a piece. But yeah, once later, I mean, obviously once Thanos comes and everything, I would say even past that, even or before that. I mean, with Civil War of like her,
Yeah, Civil War, she like it's like she makes like her own decision for herself.
yeah, because she kind of like sides with Cap, right?
Hmm.
And she's like, oh no, I'm not listening to the government. Like we're not doing that.
Hmm.
Which pre Civil War, she would have never made that decision because she's always been about like the mission and like whoever she's working for, she aligns with them. But then with this one, yeah, you're right. She does. She makes
Hmm.
her own decision and kind of goes off the path. Um, yeah, I think that I think I mean my my biggest question with this is how it connects to the universe because I mean we did already talk about Black Widow a little bit last time, but
Hmm.
that's my biggest concern of every movie, almost every movie in the MCU like matters.
At least at this point, right? It's
Yeah,
not like you're starting up anything big. Like I'm assuming the next movie that's gonna be small, maybe the one with the Mandarin. I forgot the who's the main
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi and the Mandarin,
Yeah,
or I guess in the Nine Rings. Okay,
Nine Rings. Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be like the more like small set movie because that's not really gonna be big, I guess, concerning the multiverse.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm. But like for Black Widow to be here after all this time, there has to be something that
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it has to be more than just like,
the past, right?
yeah, because so with Hawkeye, right?
He's
Hawkeye
getting a
has a
series.
he's getting a series, and I think one of the biggest things with that, well, I mean, it's like based off a very famous Hawkeye comic, which people are excited for, but
Hmm.
I think the big implications with that show is like, oh, we're introducing Kate Bishop, so Kate Bishop is going to be a character in the universe now, which is awesome. But then for Black Widow to get a movie, and if the only thing we get out of that is, oh, her sister is going to be an Avenger now, that's like kind of a letdown to me. Of like, that's the
Hmm.
whole point of the movie is to 90% talk about a dead character that doesn't matter anymore, and then
Hmm.
10% give a new Black Widow. It's like, I don't know if that's worth a movie.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Rather with Hawkeye, it seems like it's on like a similar, um, like a similar path, but it's getting a show and like it can actually build development and like have us care about Kate
Hmm.
Bishop. Whereas with this, it's just, oh, she's family, and now she's gonna be an Avenger. I don't know. Like the idea of that just doesn't work for me.
It has to be more big, right? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be more like it has to have more impact rather
Hmm.
than just here's a cool spy movie, here's a cool spy
Because yeah,
action movie.
because you could have done like a TV series as well and like done that.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And
didn't have
and
like a full film. Hmm.
exactly, yes. I think overall, it looks like a fun movie.
Hmm.
It's just like, oh, it's like what if, I think I said this before, but it's like what if Marvel made a Mission Impossible movie?
Hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll watch that. That sounds fun. But
Hmm.
like as an MCU fan, I don't know how much I'm gonna care about this. rather than like Shang-Chi sounds cool because we're finally going to see the real Nine Rings rather than
And the real Mandarin, yeah.
yeah, and
It turns out it's just Ben Kingsley again.
yeah, it's just him again. um,
That would be great, by the way, Mo. Like, it's just Ben Kingsley, and the first Mandarin was just some guy who just like looked like him.
I think they should definitely put him in the movie. I don't know if they'll actually make him like a big part of the movie, but I think they should bring him back for some sort of cameo. You know, because like he is the original Mandarin in the MCU. You know,
Mhm.
and like Shang-Chi, just again, I don't read very many comics, but
Mm.
what I do know about his character just from a little bit of skimming, sounds like a cool character. So like even that, introducing a fresh new character into the MCU with more Nine Ring stuff, because the real Nine Rings are actually really cool and interesting.
Yeah, so let me just
And
look at
like
Phase 4 real quick and see
and
what
like
we got going
and
on.
like kind of like like they're like a real or like from what I know, again, because I don't really read the comics, but
Hmm.
they're like a real terrorism group, whereas in Iron Man 3 it was just like a front. you know
Hmm.
it was a mirage.
Yeah.
um
So Phase 4 we got going on. It's Black Widow, Shang-Chi. These are movies, by the way.
mm,
Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange Multiverse, Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and Fantastic Four is being developed.
to be fair
Not
though
really slated for Phase 4, just being developed.
as a disclaimer, we're not 100% sure on like where Phase 4 ends,
Yeah, they haven't announced end for Phase 4. It's
because
literally anywhere.
do you remember when they initially announced Phase 4? They announced like 5 movies, and people were surprised that Phase 4 was so short.
Hmm.
Um, and
And they
then,
kept adding on to it and on to it.
well, that's the thing, right? Because Kevin Feige answered and was like, nope, that's it. That's Phase 4. And then like a year later or something, they added like 5 more movies, and it's like, you liar. You lied to
Well,
us.
I assume it's like I guess at the time it's like that seems like it's it. You know what I mean?
Or like it could just be Kevin Feige messing with us, because
Yeah, it
Marvel
could
has
just be
messed with us
lying. You know,
before.
it's like it's like hey, the classic Disney. This is all I can say. That's it.
One of my favorite things
Psych.
about the MCU is how they've given us fake trailers.
Oh, it's so good.
I
Like
love
again,
fake
like the Thor
trailers.
scene in the Thor scene in Infinity War. You think he's gonna be fighting with everyone?
Yeah,
Thor's not there.
or like Hulk, or like Hulk doesn't show up or Hulk shows up just in the beginning of Infinity War.
Yeah.
And he's not ever in Wakanda. Or like there was the shot where Steve is holding Thanos back,
Hmm.
and you can see Thanos' glove only has 2 stones, but
Oh yeah, like and then like he's actually against like every other stone but time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I wish more movies would do that, because I think trailers ruin movies a lot of the time, where they show too much.
I do again like so like you say trailers and you got me on a different road now. This is a side tangent I got to bring up now. So we're going to Star Wars real quick. Star Wars 7 worked because it was copy paste Star Wars 4. You know what I mean?
Sure, man.
Have you? Okay, Star Wars 8. Okay, you remember the trailer for Star Wars 8?
I do.
That was a pretty good trailer though, right?
Yeah.
The trailer was like nice, right? That trailer got you excited, dude, to watch Star Wars 8.
Yeah. Big Star Wars fan.
You went to see Star Wars 8?
No, I didn't really care, honestly.
Okay, okay. What you went to see Star Wars 8? You felt disappointed. At least the majority of people did. You walked into the theater, you're all excited. You're like, this trailer, dope trailer. It doesn't seem like it's showing much. You walked out like it was a disappointment. The movie itself wasn't bad. It just wasn't what the trailer was showing you.
Hmm.
The trailer gave you false expectations for something that doesn't exist for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like a right way to do trailers, where I think that, us going back to the Infinity War trailer, it showed us what the movie was going to be, but it it lied to us in a way that had us making theories that apply to the movie, and then other ones that actually didn't apply to the movie. And I think that that's like a perfect way to do a trailer. I'm not saying
Mhm.
all trailers should be lies, because I think that kind of causes issues down the road with like the industry as a whole. But don't don't like show everything in a trailer. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
withhold information if you can. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, I mean, it's tough because like Marvel at this point has gained our trust. So like, I feel like Marvel wouldn't have to put out another trailer ever again, because they could just say, okay, we're making a Fantastic Four movie, and we'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go watch that.
Yeah.
You know?
They're still gonna release a trailer, obviously. It's gonna be like, the 3 or 4 they'll release and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For Fantastic Four specifically, I'm very interested to see who they cast as the Four, and who the villain is gonna be.
We have to have a good Doctor Doom. That's honestly it.
Dude, I've been wanting Doctor Doom in the MCU forever, man. He's got to be here.
Giving us a good Doctor Doom and giving us a good um, Mr. Fantastic are like the quintessential parts
Yeah,
of that
essential.
movie.
Yes.
Because you open up the MCU with just those two characters.
So, trying to take away what we really want, right?
Mhm.
Do you think they're gonna go Doctor Doom, or do you think they're gonna go Silver Surfer, Galactus? Like,
Doctor Doom is so essential to the plot of Fantastic Four. It's like he's
yeah,
a part of the origin. You would have to give it to us at least in the beginning,
you're right. Yeah, yeah,
and then you
yeah.
can stray off that afterwards. But you would have to at least give it to us.
Yeah.
He's so tied to the origin.
I didn't mind those two Fantastic Four movies.
They weren't
Ones.
bad. They were
Yeah.
decent.
I know people like go back and they like hate them, but I was like, no, I mean, they're better than the new one. New one was awful, the one with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. I mean, if you listen, he was redeemed as Killmonger. You got to give him that credit.
He was, yeah, yeah, definitely.
It's like you tried your best as Human Torch, but I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, it wasn't for you, you brush it off and move on.
Yeah, you got Killmonger. Everyone loved you.
Yeah,
Maybe one of the most actual liked characters in the MCU.
I'll say like top 3 loved villains in the MCU.
Yeah, that the top 3 loved villains probably gonna be like Thanos, Loki, and like him in some order.
Oh yeah, I forgot Loki, cause I was gonna put Vulture in top 3.
But Vulture's up there as well. Yeah,
I think Vulture's above Killmonger for me.
Vulture's pretty good because Vulture's just a regular guy. You know what I mean?
He is, yeah,
Doing regular guy things. And he
yeah,
just happens to be caught up in this, and he's
yeah.
like, "Well, I guess I'll be a villain now."
Him and Killmonger are actually very similar in their motives, with like them both caring, like them both doing it for their family.
Mhm.
You know, Loki's kind of like, I feel like Loki and Thanos are kind of unfair,
Mhm.
because like Loki's been in so many movies and like he's had so much time to grow, and then
And
Thanos
Thanos was
is
built
like,
up.
yeah,
You
he's
know,
like the villain of the MCU. you know, yeah, yeah, I definitely think, but behind those two obvious ones, I think it's Killmonger and Vulture.
for a third villain, who would I put up there?
Mhm.
Right now, I'm feeling Zemo, but I feel like that's Falcon Winter Soldier bias.
It could be a little bit of bias, yeah.
And then like Civil War also, because Zemo was really good in Civil War.
He
It's
was,
like,
yeah. I can't think of any more because like yeah, there's a bunch of garbage villains, you know.
it's like you got the whip guy from like Iron Man. I guess like the first Iron Man movie, I forgot who the villain is for that.
Obadiah,
Obadiah Strong or whatever,
Stain.
or Hammer, Stain,
I think
Hammer.
Hammer is from,
He's the other guy.
yeah, he's with Whip Guy.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like he's like a decent villain, but he's like not like quintessential or anything.
Oh, even like Ego is like, I don't really
He
care
goes,
that much about
yeah, he's
Ego,
decent
or the other Guardians guy
because he's
from,
also just a slave of Thanos at that point.
yeah. Who was the villain? Oh,
Hell is
dude,
cool.
obvious one. I can't believe you haven't said it yet. Um, Mysterio.
I mean, I'm kind of biased to Mysterio. That's the thing. I didn't want to say it because I'm
Okay, sure,
obvious
sure, sure.
bias. But
Me
he's
not
good.
being
Like Mysterio's good. Mysterio's great. but obvious bias. I don't want to say it.
Me not being biased, I think Mysterio is pretty high.
Mhm.
Cause yeah, cause like
Turns out Spider-Man's got good villains.
even like Iron Man hasn't had very good villains. I mean, for
Those
all
ones
three
are pretty like
movies,
kind of like one slot, you know.
yeah, dude, another one, Ultron.
Ultron's great, yeah. Ultron's great. It
Ultron's great.
turns out Avenger villains are pretty easy to say great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have to be. They should be. Um, so why don't we get into Cells at Work, Ray?
I'm just gonna recap right now because I know we're gonna be done with it. Cells at Work's done. All
So
13 episodes.
Cells at Work is done.
You know what? I can say it right now. The guy didn't die. He lives,
Yeah,
but as the
yeah,
body, so the guy has a heart attack or whatever, and he had a gout. Okay, those were the two things: gout and a heart attack. The body gets better, but our red cell and red blood cell and our white blood cell, I think, get taken through a blood transfusion and get put into another body.
yeah. So I already had my rant last episode. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like I should.
I'll give episode 11 some credit. It was a good episode.
Okay.
11 gets some credit.
So
12 and 13 is the it's a decent ending, honestly, because 12, it's like, okay, like building up for the heart attack. 13 is the conclusion of the heart attack. The body gets better because they're like, obviously the guy, I guess, it's like, whoa, I had a heart attack, I gotta make changes to my life, I'm doing everything wrong.
so I think I don't want to come off as harsh. You know what I mean? But like I think this is one of the worst endings to an anime I've ever seen. And the reason is because it just kind of goes back to this anime as a whole where I don't they don't like stand their ground with
There's
any
no
decision they
respect for it,
make.
right?
Yeah, there's no respect because like we're now getting towards the end and we have our theories, like I said last time, they they should die. That would be crazy if they just said no hope, dead. It happens, people die
In
every.
fact, it felt like it was getting there, dude. Episode
Yes,
12, I was like,
exactly. Dude, I felt the same way. I was like, they're gonna do it. They're actually gonna redeem this show, at least a little bit. And he dies almost, right? And then I'm like, oh, is it okay? We're getting there. We're getting there. And then he comes back to life, and I'm like, this is them pushing their like shonen friendship like aspect to the show that they're finally injecting in the last third, and I hated it.
except they're not, though, which is crazy because it's just the guy going to like a hospital or something and they're getting like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is like even like them building up the main character to want to like kill himself. Basically, I was like, I
Yeah,
don't like this. Like it's just so because then he talks to some random lady in the street that
yeah.
inspires him to work again. And I'm like, what is
It's
this
like, it's
show
like
trying to be?
it's like, oh man, no, my friend. You mean you were friends with my friend and he was nice to you and
Yeah, it's just so
the
random.
white blood cell hugged me.
Yeah, and then I got a hug, and then everything like, and and then yeah,
It's all
and
okay, man.
we get to him living, and it's like, oh, we're good for just randomness again, where we didn't do anything.
It's off that it was just that one episode, dude, that he was down.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then I remember watching that episode, and like it gets to him being better, and everything's all sunny and happy, and I'm just watching it of like, is this a dream? Like, am I still watching this show? And then the very end happens, and everything is great, and then they have like a transfusion, right? You said, and then they they literally set it up like I don't know, like Pokemon, where it's like, oh, we beat, or no, I mean Ash never wins the tournament, but like I got all 8 badges, I beat the Elite Four, whatever it is, and then oh, now we're in Johto, now we're gonna do it all over again from scratch. That's literally what this show did, where they were like, oh, like they had a line where the main character said, our code black jobs aren't quite over, and then the episode ended, and I was like, so we're just gonna do this show again with another body? That's so like it's so cheap, whereas like this first show wasn't even really that good. you know like Like, are we just gonna start out like last time where we fight random germs for 8 episodes? You know,
Like my man can't get depression anymore, so I mean, I think he'll be fine.
and then that guy that came with him is gonna be his new friend that dies in episode 9.
Yeah,
You know,
it's like not again.
it's like I don't know, man. Like it just flipped back and forth so many times in those last 2 episodes, and now we ended it of like, oh, everything's fine in that body. Now we're gonna do it all over again in this new body. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
I
man, you can't
guess
have gout twice.
you're right. That's scientifically proven.
Not a doctor.
um, but yeah, man, it was fine. It was
Maybe
fine.
you can get like chicken pox. Get a nice one for Code Black.
That's possible. Have you ever had chicken pox?
Yeah, just the once.
Yeah, me too. I feel like you can only get it once, right?
Yeah,
And then and then if you get it again, it's like shingles.
yeah.
Yeah,
But you're like 70 and you're like,
yeah. Whenever I think of
and
shingles,
they're like shingles is dangerous. This is one thing they tell you in school. They're like shingles is dangerous. You can actually paralyze your body with shingles. Or get paralyzed or whatever.
yeah, yeah, shingles sucks from personal experience. um, but no, yeah, it's just like a lot of pain. It's not good.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that sells at Work Black, dude. That was fine. But now now we're gonna move on to a much more interesting show, which is Wonder Egg Priority. Okay.
Oh no, this is the
So everyone better strap in because a lot happened in these last 2 episodes. I hated whenever they cut to that. I was like, stop
the
showing that shot. It's so weird. So I guess like we could just kind of go through it, right? Because I think it's very easy for us to just kind of pop around. But let's try to like start with episode 11, okay? Um, so episode
it was
11,
wild.
episode 11, I think is my favorite episode of the entire show
Oh, it's pretty good.
because
It's this is as the kids would say, tubular.
yep, as kids have been known to say that. Um, we finally basically learn why all of this is happening.
Mhm.
Of like Ura and Akka, um, doing the whole Wonder Egg thing. It's all because they have this whole story with
Yo,
they
11 goes hard.
11 is wild. They like
11 goes hard.
they make a kid, or it's like an AI, and then it goes wrong because the Akka falls in love, and then the girl is jealous. The guy is
She
kind of
throws
jealous
the hair
too.
dryer in the bathtub.
So
The baby lives.
I didn't know that at first. When I don't think you're supposed to, but like you threw the hair dryer, and in that moment, okay, in that moment, right? Um, she was she
She
was
threw the
standing,
hair dryer and I had to turn it back just to make sure I was watching right. I
dude.
was like, did she actually throw the hair dryer to kill this woman? And I
She
was like,
was
yeah, she did. She's wild.
she was standing in that doorway, and just with her posture, I was like, she has like a knife or something. And then she has a hair dryer, and I was like, oh no. And yeah, she threw it in the tub, and I thought both of them died, right? And then Akka threw her in the basement, which was nuts. And you find out the daughter lived. Even crazier.
But I guess the daughter went to the basement or whatever and talked with her.
Yeah, it was.
And then
Yes,
she talked her into suicide.
yeah. Like, okay, so I wasn't completely sure on that of like how that happened, like how Frill talked. Was like Himari, I think.
Yeah.
Himari into suicide. So like even with that, okay, so we're talking about suicide or whatever. um, with Himari talking to Ura and like asking him to wait for her.
Yeah.
My mind, dude, if you were here watching it with me, my mind was being blown every 10 seconds. I was like, what is this show?
She loves him.
Yeah, like, you wait
But
for
like, I
me.
guess technically that's like her uncle. You know what I mean?
But
Like not really related. You know.
sure. But like,
But like, it's still like a big age gap though.
yeah, like, like, yeah, okay, so yeah, like, technical uncle is crazy. The age gap is crazy. But like, even for her to just say that, of like, yeah, wait for me, I want to marry you. It's like, where is this coming from? And like, why is it stemming from the conversation of
It's
him
obviously
being
something from
jealous of
Frill
Akka.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like for the next day for her to commit suicide.
Yeah. Frill
Wild.
must have said that he'll never love you the same or whatever like that. You'll
Yeah.
never.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like that whole time.
Obviously, the truth, obviously, which is like, but I
Hmm.
don't think. I think there was a way to word it in a way to maybe not make it so good. It's like, your mother died in that bathtub, right? What?
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah. So like, so then still, kind of still on that. Like, how did Frill convince her? Like, was it was it just her talking to her? Like, she said Akka or one of them said that she used dot and hyphen.
I feel like Dot and Hyphen, I feel like are into dreams, right? Like she
Right.
controls them through there.
So like,
But like Frill's like obviously like above or beyond like some being or whatever. She's able to do stuff like that.
right. So that was gonna be my question to you. Of like, Frill just has that ability. Like, she's able to like hop into dreams.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
First of all, the entire idea of that's wild because the world they're in, right? It's like they can have like these. It's pseudo magical, but also pseudo science.
yeah, yeah, it's a weird combination.
Like dreams are reality, and then these things can like do stuff as well, and you're really kind of like breaking and going with it. And the entire point, I guess, of them going into the dream world is, I guess, they want to save the daughter, which
Hmm.
is wild.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like at this point we can just merge the two episodes. But like, Akka wants. Well, I mean, both of them do. I mean, Akka's a little more crazed about it because it's
Mhm.
actually his daughter. But like, they somehow not only can hop into dreams, but they can also tap into like alternate realities.
Yes.
So so basically, like they want to get Himari from an alternate reality where she's still alive and
And
pull.
bring her over. Yeah.
Yeah, um,
And
dude.
save her, let her know that, like, it's not, her fault or whatever.
Right,
They
right,
can
right.
fix it, make it better.
And then so I don't know, getting more into the last episode, I guess. Last episode was for me the most confusing episode. There's definitely some sequences where I couldn't quite follow it.
Oh, we can go hard into I can dissect this a little more for you.
Yeah, so like so this episode is this one that opens with I wanting to or like I's in the dream world, right? And
Hmm.
then and I think we also see Rika trying to get back in, but she can't because like Uranaka
Oh,
won't let her back in.
okay, so, like, I've already, like, kind of dissected. If they were to pick someone, okay, they would pick Koito. No, not Koito. What's her name?
Nehru.
Nehru to come back. No,
Okay,
not Nehru.
I, Momo, Rika.
Rika. No.
I named all four girls. There's no one left.
Is it Momo?
Yeah,
Momoe.
Momo.
Momoe. Okay,
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah. They would pick Momoe to come back because she's not fueled by rage.
right.
Because, like, the entire assumption of that is that they can get Frill. Frill would, like, be able to control her.
Okay,
If
so
Rika came in.
yeah, you're definitely right about
Frill
that.
can manipulate that. Yeah.
I remember them talking about that of like yeah, Rika's filled by rage and Frill will be able to take her. But
Mhm.
just a real quick tangent. You mentioned Momo. I mean, I know it was very
She's not coming back.
emotional.
She's not coming back, at least right now.
Sure, sure,
Based on what
sure. I know it was very emotional, but I still disagreed with her kind of blaming I for all of this, saying that
it's
it
like you
was
were already doing this before. I guess the only thing that changed that you became friends.
yeah, like that's kind of where I was at where I didn't make you start doing the egg thing, like you were already doing it,
Mhm.
and like in
The only thing that
fact,
changed that you met us,
yeah, and like your life,
and that you got to get the lizard, which I'm not sure if you would have got that earlier or not.
right? Yeah, that's kind of where it gets tricky. But like even like
Mhm.
your life is better since you met us. I mean,
Mhm.
she Momo like cried when I recognized her as like a pretty girl or
Mhm.
whatever, and it's like you have like real friends who see you who you are. So like I don't, I know it was emotional. She lost, what was his
Mhm.
name? Panic, I think was his.
Yeah.
But so going further, right? So I cracked the egg, and it was an alternate version of herself,
Who committed suicide?
right? Who already killed herself based on everything we already know about the I character.
Yeah,
Um,
but she was in love with a teacher. The teacher ends up being like the villain, the alternate teacher.
sure. So,
Hmm.
so that's where I already read up some stuff. I already read some like people's opinions on their kind of how they're interpreting it. But like, so Mr. Sayaki said
Hmm.
that he said that I asked him out.
Yeah,
Now, did both versions of I ask him out?
I don't believe that's true. I believe it had to be the past eye, or not
Okay,
the alternate eye,
alternate, right? Okay, yeah,
in
because
order to
we
like,
have
trigger that.
okay.
Hmm.
So the alternate one did.
Hmm. Because like assuming that we have like our eye, so the universe that we're watching, okay, most likely never interacted with the teacher, okay, except for the time where like asking to like be the model or whatever, and then Koito was also the model there.
Okay. Mm.
Hmm. So we're going on that assumption, right? Starts hanging out with the mom, likes the mom, wants to go out with her. Like our eye gives permission to the mom to date him. She's like, I'm okay with it. So our eye has matured, you know, past that being like this was a child's ambition,
Mhm.
a fool, I was just a crush, you know, kind of gives up on that.
Yeah, because those flashbacks that we saw
You,
with
you see that
our
interlaced like during the fight, you know.
yeah yeah. So those flashbacks with the mom, they were with our eye.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of just giving her permission to go on, like
Right,
it's
because
kind of weird to say like give permission, but she's not really giving permission, more like saying, I'm okay with you dating him.
it's like her blessing, basically.
Yeah, it's like like I know like you've asked me to if I would be okay with it, I guess I'm okay with it now.
But did alternate eye kill herself before her feelings for Sayaki were ever like actually
I feel
happened?
like it would have to be after. It must have been like a rejectal or whatever, rejection or whatever, something like that.
Okay, sure, sure,
Even like
sure.
Koito.
Um,
Although, well, that the new I did never met Koito, never had a friend.
oh yeah, yeah. Alternate
Okay, so
never.
so, so so we had to say alternate I never had friends, so just as lonely as I was before meeting Koito,
Mm-hmm.
so just as bullied and whatnot.
Yeah,
And I guess Sayaki was like her only hope. So imagine like you ask out the one person in your life who's like nice to you, you know.
yeah.
And I'm not sure
Okay.
if it was like rejection or anything like that, because it doesn't seem like it was anything like based on the way he was behaving. I don't think it was anything like even sexual in nature. He just he must have said no or something, or like you know.
Well, I definitely think that alternate Sayaki is way more um manipulative than
Mhm.
our Sayaki is. I mean, just like basing it off of the like villain representation that was in the dream world.
Mhm.
Like he said it a million times of like, oh yeah, it's super easy to get people to do things when you're born this handsome or whatever,
Mhm. Yeah.
of like yeah,
I guess like he must have like made her like he's like she's all alone and vulnerable,
mhm.
so he makes her model for him so he can get money off the paintings and whatnot
Yeah.
and build his career.
So going further with that, um they're both there, both fighting them, and then they fell into the pool.
Hmm.
And well, what I gathered was that Saiki, he like put the paint in the pool,
Hmm.
and they both kind of woke up in different places, like both eyes.
Hmm.
So like the one woke up with like dead Koito,
Hmm.
and then the other one woke up somewhere else. I don't remember. I don't know what happened with
Yeah,
that
the ending was
one.
getting kind of trippy at that point. It was it
Yeah,
was
but I
it
do
was, it
know
was definitely
that
fluctuating.
I know that eventually where it all kind of came back together was alternate eye and Koito. Koito was trying to get her to like kill herself, basically, like
Hmm.
jump off the ledge and just say forget it, right? Because that's kind of
Hmm.
how the
Like
dead
she did
people
it, I
are.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and like even with all the girls that we've seen that have killed themselves and they're in this dream world, they still have no hope until I or Nehru or whoever come in and save them, you know.
Yeah.
So like if
Yeah.
dead Koito meets with dead I, I'll just kill herself together. Like why not do it, you know?
Like, I'm jumping on this like roof. You want to jump too?
But then our I breaks through reality and saves old I or alternate
Mm-hmm.
I, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's kind of where the climax is. She's super strong. She fights off Sayaki. Everything's great. Just pulverizes him, like
Mm-hmm.
snaps him out of existence. and um and then Koito is saved. So before we go further, because then there's stuff that's wild that happens.
uh,
Um, I saw people, because you know I always check like Reddit and stuff to see what people are saying, about shows that I care about, not Cells at Work.
mm-hmm.
Um, I saw people saying that Koito kind of sucked in the end. Like she wasn't. She was very selfish. She wasn't really a good friend, and they don't see I ever meeting up with her again. Because we even have a line where, and this is also kind of where it breaks reality, and I'm not sure where this is happening, but at some point it flashes back or forward or something to I talking with Nehru after
Mm-hmm.
Rika and Momo left.
Oh yeah, yeah. Where like Nehru says like she sounds like a fake friend.
Yeah, the fake friend, and then yes, she says that, and then I even says something like, I don't really even need an answer from her anymore. Like I don't really care about, like, I don't know, I guess why she killed herself. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So like with all that put together, like, is that true? Is that like the conclusion we're coming through? Where like Koito,
Well, like we have to consider that like Nehru only thinks logically as well for
that's
like the way
fair. That's fair.
she's portrayed. Like this is like think about this like Ai's like her first friend outside of like the one person she met in like the cult science group.
Sure, 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 sure.
And the cult and the same girl like in the cult science group was someone like her, someone who also thought logically.
Mhm.
So again, not like a normal girl like the other three. We can like normal, you know. So like when you see Ai, finally like acting someone like this to her, Nehru's like, okay, so this is what we do. This is what friends are like, not like that. It's like we hang out, we do things together, we do that, we talk to each other. But everything based on like what I is telling her about Koito. Koito doesn't really speak to her about any of her problems. Like kind of keeps her away from like the entire point of Sayaki and her.
Sure.
Even though like,
Um.
she does talk about the bullying with her, um, it doesn't really go into like the root of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I think we talked about this towards the beginning, of the show, where it's like, I think
And like,
Rika.
but I was gonna only just add on as well that I knows why Koito died. We don't.
Which I
The present, the one that we have in the universe
ours
that we're watching.
our
Yeah, our eye.
our I knows why Koito died.
Well, at least like based on what people are telling her, based on like what Sayaki would say or anything
Oh,
like
sure,
that.
sure, 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 sure.
Yeah, but we don't know that
Oh,
yet.
we never. I forgot about that.
We don't know that. We don't know that. So our eye is already,
Wait, 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 wait. We don't have
this is
confirmation.
so,
We don't
so
have
our eye has like whatever Sayaki said to her.
right,
Mhm.
but
We
even
don't know
even
whether it was saying like I don't know whether it's like
exactly, yeah. Which
you know
which I was gonna say is that we don't have confirmation that Sayaki actually told
does know.
her,
Mhm.
or even does know. That's also true. Where it's like
Yeah,
there was
but
always
whatever Sayaki says to her, is what she's gonna be basing everything on.
yeah. Okay, I completely
Mhm.
forgot about that like cliffhanger. Um, I forgot what else
And they
I
just
was
lead
gonna
you off of that.
say.
You never get to see that again. So Sayaki could say, oh, like we as humans because of this or whatever.
Um,
Because they'd have a good reason why. It definitely wasn't grades or anything like that.
sure, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Had to be,
it could have
yeah.
been the bullying. It could have been something he did with her. But
Um,
whatever he says though determines everything for how I views that her death.
we did we did kind of talk about this when Rika mentioned it. Remember when Rika was like, "Why should we even care about these people?
Hmm.
They're the selfish ones for taking their life and
Not thinking about anyone
not
else.
yeah
Hmm.
not considering other people's feelings, which is a very valid way to view it. Especially
Hmm.
with people that are close to you. Um, I don't know where I was going with that. Oh so it's like I could totally see where I comes from, or even some of the fellow viewers um, feel this way of like Koito is kind of selfish. Like she helped I, right? She helped her by being her only
Hmm.
friend, and then obviously
But
I
she
gets
doesn't
more
want that. She
friends.
doesn't want that reciprocal help herself.
Right. So it's
Hmm.
I can see how people see that as selfish, as like deciding to befriend someone is not doing well, does not have any other friends, and you're kind of doing it for that reason,
Hmm.
and then maybe over time you become actual friends, only to then take your own life without talking to this
Their
one friend.
consideration, yeah.
Yeah, and like even I says like I don't know anything about Koito.
Hmm.
Like the only thing she knows is that she hangs out with her. Whereas with someone like Rika, Momo, Nehru, she knows a lot about them.
Like
You know,
they all know like a lot about their people,
yeah,
Like
they're
Rika,
all
for example, take a fan who came by, every time for meet and greets at Idol. Like Momoe, one of her classmates she was friends with, had a huge crush on her. And then Neru was like literally her sister.
yeah, um, yeah. That is kind of because I remember us also talking about in the beginning if I was actually ever going to save Koito or not, and then now we
Mhm.
get here and she did, but that wasn't even the
The show
goal
hasn't
anymore.
ended yet though.
Right. Okay. So so let's actually get to the ending then, because this is where I was really confused.
I can dissect this for you because
Right.
I was confused as well, so I had to look it up just to make sure I was
Yeah.
understanding what happened.
I think I figured it out, but I do want to hear what you think as well.
Hmm.
So that happens. Everything's great. It looks like they're about to leave. And at this point, I'm like, nah, something else gonna happen. There's gotta be something else. And then, not dot or hyphen, some other key, key, Kirara, something.
Whatever the joke name is from like any of the anime, like like the 20,000 long names or whatever that you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
from like the classic joke name. Okay.
They come in, they fight, and at first I thought I was gonna hold her own. Like at first I was like, oh, she
Hmm.
might. She doesn't. She gets hurt very
Also,
bad.
notice how I specifically does not summon like her gecko or her chameleon.
Yeah, Leon. Yeah.
Yeah, she keeps it back.
Um, and then more like talking, whatever. I think there's another flashback, but who cares?
Hmm.
On on like the backswing of the boomerang that
Hmm.
that Kirara threw,
Hmm.
it catches Ai's actual eye, her like left eye. At
Hmm.
that point, don't know what's going on. My mind's being blown, Ray. It's crazy, and then um she disappears, and then I wakes up from this dream world and is like, oh man, my I forget what word she is, like my clone or something like that. I forget what word, but she's like, oh my clone saved me, or like sacrificed herself, and I wasn't
Hmm.
sure exactly who was who in that moment. That was the most confused I was of like, is it alternate eye or is it our eye? But what I think happened was um our eye jumped in front of alternate eye, and our eye is the one who got hit.
Yes. Hmm.
She got the eye taken out, which that shot of Carrara with the eye sticking off the
On the
boomerang
cleaver, yeah,
was
it's
crazy.
crazy.
So our eye was actually the one who jumped in front of the way, which
Hmm.
that's definitely her character. That's way more her personality than what we know of alternate eye.
Hmm.
Um,
So she jumps in, she takes the hit.
and then
Alternate universe eye
yeah,
takes out her own eyeball
yeah. So
and inserts it into our eye.
okay, because that's what I was confused about. Where I was like, because did we see that happen, or is that implied?
It's
Like, do we actually
implied.
see her take the eye out and then?
I don't think we see her take the eye out, but you imply that she takes the eye out.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, she doesn't take out the eye that she would give. She takes out the same color eye, so it'd be on the opposite side of her body.
So now our eye has two same color eyes.
No, two the same different eyes, right? But like on the alternate eye, the eye colors are swapped.
Oh, okay.
So
I
instead of
see.
like if the right eye was taking, she's taking like her left eye.
Oh right, because when our eye got hit, it was the right side, but then
Hmm.
on the alternate eye, the left side was gone.
Hmm.
So yeah, that makes sense.
So she
And,
takes out the same color eye and she puts it in.
okay, yeah, and then she pops because she was already gonna disappear anyway.
Hmm. But she's already dead though. So she thinks she views what she's doing as an absolute win.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then our eye wakes up from the dream, and
Crying.
that was also really good. Oh, that was just a really good scene of like her waking up, her crying only from the eye that was replaced, and
Yeah.
then being like, "Oh, the other eye saved me." Nuts. And
Hmm.
then
And that's it. That's the end of your episode.
yeah, there was like not like a post credit scene because I was like, "There's no way that ended that way." It was just weird. I don't know if it was actually a scene or not. I think it was just part of the ED.
Yeah. We'll be getting episode 13 like when, like June, you said?
Yeah. So June, we're getting episode 13.
And that would probably go into Naru, her ending.
So I saw a lot of people online that were
Disappointed, I guess.
disappointed to say the least in
Uh,
the finale.
I mean, it's fine. This for an for original anime, this is amazing. Like, I don't know what to really. There's not really much to complain about.
I think that people's complaints are kind of
They
misguided.
just want like a bigger finale, like something that feels more
Yeah,
final than what it is right now.
or
But
like
there's episode 13 in June.
or like I don't know. I don't see this as a one season show because just in the fact that how many times have they mentioned the like Eros and like Thanatos and
Just said twice or three times at this time.
yeah, and they mentioned it this episode too, where the other eye was like, I'm gonna come back and fight Eros, and I'm like, why do they keep bringing this up? Like, I feel like they are planning on making, or they want to anyway. I don't know if it'll happen, but like, they want like this is a bigger
Second season
story.
or movie would be fine just to finish it off.
Yeah, or movie. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
true. But yeah, people are upset that this last episode asked more questions than it answered. Like, well, what happens to I? And what happened to Frill? And what about these dot and hyphen characters? And what about
Again, you get an episode 13. Could be
yeah? Like
something there.
like with all the current questions with like the I and Eros Thanatos and Uran Aka and
Hmm.
um will Rika ever get back? What's happened with Momo and Nehru's whole plan with her company? Like with all the questions there are, I don't think episode 13
And
will
like, have they
answer.
seen like the brought back people yet? I don't think they've seen anyone
Yeah,
yet who's been brought back.
we haven't even really seen what happens when people are brought back. Like,
Hmm.
are they just alive again? You know, are they brought
Hmm.
somewhere else? So like, um, I don't know. I don't think episode 13 will answer all those questions. I think it's impossible. So I think people hoping for a concrete ending to this show are gonna be still disappointed with episode 13
They
because
could
I
do an
think
hour long
that
episode 13, but that would be it. That would be the most I'd give them.
they
Get it
could.
an hour long.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It could just be because
This.
I really enjoy the show, but it does feel like they're building out a much bigger story
Hmm.
with this like war that they've mentioned a few times and are like to mention something like that and for them to never go into it like it's just a thing. It's like why even mention it? Like if we never actually go into a real war, a dream war or whatever it's going to be,
Hmm. Because I mean,
why?
again, all our characters are warriors of Eros.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and like if we never actually, cause like all we've seen so far is them going into the Wonder Eggs, fighting the See No Evils, and then a couple of them have actually, or I guess Nehru hasn't yet, but everyone else has kind of saved their person.
Hmm.
But it's like, is that just it? Like, are we done now? Because everyone still has a thread that, I mean, some of them might be close to being wrapped up, but some of them I don't think are.
Hmm.
You know, like, Rika still wants vengeance. Like, is episode 13 just going to be I talks to her and she's okay, and then that's Rika's character?
Hmm.
You know, I don't know. I think that would be really boring.
You know, it's like you can't really say what's gonna happen. There's so many ways it could go.
Yeah,
Um,
I
it's
just
a nice
really
bit on this magical girl genre.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
100%. It's an actual good one that we haven't had anything like this in a while. I feel like.
Madoka really changed up the script, so
Yeah,
being able to reinvent something is like I again some people may argue it's not Magical Girl, but this is definitely
I would argue it is,
mhm.
or at least like a subset.
Yeah, it's definitely based on the entire concept of it. They may not transform, but I mean, do you need to
They may
transform?
not. I mean, yeah, they have like their weapons transform.
Yeah,
It's close
it's
enough.
like they're saving like people, dead people, but still
Hmm.
getting to cope with reality. Great show, wonderful show. No complaints on
Yeah,
my end, really.
yeah. I
As a
don't have
whole,
any.
it's wonderful. Definitely a breath of fresh air. You know what else I did? Breath of fresh air. Yeah, I watched Jujutsu Kaisen as well.
All of it?
I watched all of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh my god. Okay.
And let me hit you with this, okay? After watching Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan, Wonder Egg Priority, okay? Can definitely say Wonder Egg Priority is like above and beyond any of those other ones for the season.
Wonder Egg is really good, dude. Like, if
Like, I'm
any.
not like throwing hate, okay? I'm gonna be honest. Like Attack on Titan had higher highs than other seasons, okay? And we all know final season part two is where the real meat of it is, because it's the big finale. All this cool stuff are happening in next year in the winter.
Hmm.
Jujutsu Kaisen is classic shonen, except it's really good shonen. It's just good shonen is what it is. That's
Yeah,
all I
man.
can say. It's just good shonen, but like it doesn't like have anything. There's no depth to it outside of that.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing with Wonder Egg is that there's a lot of depth, a lot of like with the characters. Like every
Mhm,
character has their own unique story, and they really make you care. I mean, even like Ura and Akka didn't really care
mhm.
about them for most of the show. We were
11 really
intrigued.
like brought them in,
Yeah, and then episode 11 was like, here's all this crazy story that kind of um
develops them.
yeah, and it explains why the Wonder Egg thing exists.
Mhm.
You know, yeah. This was a great show. It was fantastic.
So, yeah. Again, like I can only say that after watching all three of these shows. You know what I mean? To say like Wonder Egg really is a gem in anime,
Mm-hmm.
at least modern anime. You know, it's
Yeah,
refreshing.
yeah. I'm excited for the 13th episode. Definitely have to watch it, and then I don't know. I wonder if they are gonna end it with that episode. If they are gonna somehow wrap everything up and like it is a complete like front to back story, or if they are planning on doing like a movie, which a lot of shows do, or if there
I think we
is,
just it would be good.
or if it is gonna be like we're getting another season, if this is a bigger story, or if it could just wrap up in one season, I'd be okay with that, you know.
It's like that played all over again, dude. They got you hooked with all this cool fancy stuff, and then it just ends you, and you're like, I got all these questions here. I need to answer them.
The show does a much better job at building the world than Death Parade did.
That pretty was subtle. That's why it's like little hints and nudges there.
Yeah, it didn't
It didn't
ever
rely on it,
get there though. Like it gave you enough to be interested, but then the show ended. Whereas
Yeah,
I feel like Wonder Egg dropped a lot on you at the end.
yeah, it revolves around that.
Yeah. So I gotta see what because I'm not sure if are we gonna start with the seasonal stuff next week or are we starting with the old stuff next week?
It'd be easier to start with old stuff,
Old stuff?
so we give like a gap, to like kind of build up.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I figured that would probably be the best thing to do because I'm not sure how many episodes of the other two shows are out yet. If there's not enough, then it wouldn't make sense. Okay, so yeah, we can do that. So next time is what did we say we're doing? We're doing Megalobox, right?
I have to write it down actually.
I don't remember.
It's gonna be Megalobox and Snafu.
Okay, and Snafu.
Oh, did you read the manga?
I did not.
Ooh, well, we got something you can do next week as well.
Yeah, yeah. I just forgot, and then today I was like, oh, I should do that, and then I was like, I don't have time.
It's fine. It's fine. The manga can be read anytime. I know anime is consistent. That's why it's easy to remember.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Let's see.
Because I forgot about the manga until I just checked in chat as well.
Sure, 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 sure. So yeah, so next time we're gonna watch the first two of Megalobox and what's the full thing? It's like my teen
Romantic comedy or whatever.
romantic comedy snafu, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So just do
it's
the
snap. It's easy to do.
do the first two of those. You know, we're gonna have a good time watching those. Two very different. One's obviously a rom com. The other is like sports action, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a cool type of boxing anime,
Boxing. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
except with like futuristic boxing,
Yeah. You ever watch Real Steel?
cyberpunk.
Oh, that was
You know, fun fact actually, I auditioned to be in Real Steel as the kid.
oh, really? As the kid? Okay, I thought
Yeah,
you.
I auditioned to be the kid in Real Steel.
Ooh,
That was
how?
back when I was younger and more fit.
Mm, how far did you get in the
You
process?
know, did not pass the first audition.
Ooh, the first one, huh? That's tough.
No, they didn't even do lines. They just had you line up.
Oh, and they just kind of did like a visual kind of thing.
Yeah,
Mm,
like they asked you a few questions or whatnot. You know,
mm.
um, at the time I was doing Taekwondo, so I actually kind of had like martial arts like experience to kind of be in the movie.
Oh, sure, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so like but yeah, no,
But they didn't care about any of that. They were just like, ah,
no, they're like his Brown. Um,
ooh, that's tough. I was gonna go glasses, but you went further, huh?
I mean, I could have got contacts. It's not like it's a big deal.
That's possible. Yeah, that's.
If they paid you to be in the movie, I'm pretty sure I would have been like, I would have paid for my parents would have paid for contacts at that point if it was
Mm,
like, yo, you know,
yeah,
glasses would not be an option there.
yeah. I don't know if any boxers wear glasses. I'm trying to think. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, this is a little fun fact. I did audition to go on Real Steel. I
So
was much cuter as well.
you didn't get a chance to meet like Hugh Jackman, nothing like that.
No. There
Oh,
was just like producers or writers on site, whatever, like casting people.
mm. Wish I could have met Hugh Jackman.
Like, he wasn't even there, you know. It's kind of a
Yeah,
bummer.
yeah.
It was like one building in New York City. They had like a bunch of you know I've really forgot about this memory. It was until you said that. It was a core unlock, you know. It was in the back of my head. Something I threw away. You
Sure.
remember Real Steel? Oh no.
Oh no.
Would have never remembered, you know. It's not something I would say, hey, you know. It's not something I'll be like, hey, you know, I auditioned for Real Steel. No. I
Mm.
forgot that movie existed.
It was a fun movie. You know, I ain't mad at it.
I actually didn't watch it out of spite.
So man, you really went all out for that, huh? Said, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take away their sales.
Just me, myself. I'm gonna have my sale.
That movie flopped because of you.
This is a funny concept. Imagine like if someone like who's like trying to like be an actor or whatever, and they're like every movie that denies them, they just don't watch.
But they only try out for like really high like blockbuster movies. So like their
So
their
like they
knowledge
always are like successful.
their, so like their knowledge of the industry is really low because they never watch the popular movies.
Like, well, they denied me, so I can't watch it.
Like they've never seen Endgame because they auditioned for Tony, but like Tony was already cast like 10 years ago. So it's like any movie with Iron Man in it, they don't watch.
Like, I mean, like I would love to be like an extra in a movie. Like legitimately, I think I'd like to audition to be like an extra. Like heck, man, like Marvel, make me a Skrull in one of the movies that dies.
That'd be
Just a
cool.
Skrull that dies like in the off edge of a camera, like, oh, I'm shot by a blaster. Tyler knows I take falls for free.
He does. He does. Yeah. Well, like you shouldn't broadcast that though, because then they'll never pay you.
Well, no, I mean, like you could, like, no, they will pay me. I'll ask for money this time because, like, obviously, but like, it would be like no hesitation, like if you slightly touch me, I will like
Mm,
make it the biggest scene of a lifetime.
right. Yeah, you definitely know how to sell it.
Teachers would get worried.
They would. Yeah.
Like, are you okay? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm fine. I did it on purpose. They're like, what's wrong with you?
Like, well, it all started right. I had this audition.
For real, still.
Never even met Hugh Jackman.
Which is this blonde lady like drinking a latte. She had us all lined up. Thought we were getting robbed. It's like a police
She
line
had
up
a,
like all the criminals
she
all
had a
against
gun
the
for
wall.
some reason.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I
I
want
didn't
you to
watch
know
it.
this,
Tell
Ray.
them.
I want I want you to know something right now because I have a couple other things. I don't know how big they'll be, but I'm sitting here right now and I still don't know if that was a bit or not. I don't know if you're telling the truth. If you actually auditioned for Real Steel or not, because you've never talked about this.
I'm telling you, it's something I truly forgot. Like, this is
I've
not a bit. Let me just be serious right now.
I've known you for many years, Ray. You've never brought this
It's
up.
this is like a core memory that was like forgotten. Like something that you just like hide in the recesses of your mind that you've
Sure, sure,
done.
sure.
My brother and I auditioned for Real Steel when it was coming out. And this is
Mm.
legitimate. It's a true story.
We both
Never got past the
auditioned.
first phase, obviously, because I just said it. They were just holding the auditions.
You both auditioned.
We both auditioned, yeah.
So like, were you like standing next to each other in the lineup?
Yeah.
I feel like that might be against your favor right there, because
It may
that
be
like,
against my favor, obviously, but like he never got in either. So like, they just did. You know who they casted? It was some white kid.
yeah, some filthy. So like,
Because Hugh Jackman's white.
I mean the math checks out. So like,
Also, I will say this as well. There's like a girl who auditioned as well. Like a lot, like a couple of girls auditioned as well, but it was mostly kids because they were looking for like like guys, like little boys to like
hmm
audition. I don't know
yeah,
why did I say little boys? They're looking
yeah,
for
no,
boys to audition.
yeah, no, you're fine.
But some girls, obviously auditioned as well in case they were willing to recast the role.
hmm
hmm
Yeah, that makes sense.
hmm
So has your brother ever watched the movie?
No, but I don't
Oh,
think
okay.
he didn't watch for a different reason. The joke saying I didn't watch out of spite is still funny to say.
hmm
But I don't. I just never got to watching it. I said I'll watch it someday.
Um, I mean, it's not like essential. It's not like a movie that's like you gotta watch Real Steel.
Maybe I'll watch it just to hate on it.
I
Raymond
feel like
watches Real Steel just to trash on the entire movie that he never got to get into.
I feel like back when we had the idea of doing like a reaction thing,
hmm
I just, I feel like if we still did that, we would definitely do Real Steel
It would be funny.
with this now newfound knowledge. I feel like
Again,
we can
it's
make
not
it
like
work.
it's not anything important to say because it's something I truly forgot and nothing that really comes up. You know what I
hmm
mean? It's like I don't think it's something that comes up in normal conversation. You just happen to say something that links to it,
Sure, yeah, like
and I just remembered it
unlocks a
because of that.
memory.
You would never ask me like I would forget that ever happened normally.
hmm Wild, absolutely insane.
Like you may have known me for years, but that's something that even I forgot.
So no, I never told you because I didn't know about it. I wasn't aware of this.
It's something that I blocked away for years, only to be rediscovered.
So, um, I got a couple things for you, right? The first one is Did you see that? I mean, I'm sure you did, but like, I might have even talked to you about it. I don't know. JoJo's Part 6 got announced for
I
anime.
did see that. That was exciting.
Yeah, so I don't really care, honestly. Aside from the fact that you forced me to read Part 7, and it
Well,
was
yeah,
really
it was
good.
subtle
You know.
force, but yeah, it was a good movie, right?
Yeah, yeah. Part
Oh no, not good movie. Good.
manga. Yeah. Yeah, and so I just wanted to mention that and say that it's funny that Part 6 was announced and immediately everyone is like, nah, but like where's like Steel Ball Run though? Like when are we getting that? And it's like, I don't know, our JoJo's fans a little spoiled to to get six parts of their favorite manga animated and still be asking for Part 7. Cause like, you know, you've told me that Part 7 is like the most popular one or the one that people like the most.
Yeah, it's the one that everyone loves. Everyone loves Part 7.
But like I feel like everyone just needs to calm down just like a little bit and wait for Part 6 to be made and then released and then start asking for Part 7. You know, we just want them cowboys, and you know we just gotta wait for, what is this one? It's like Wind something, Windstorm. I don't know
Part
what it's
6
called.
is Stone Ocean.
Stone Ocean. Yep.
Not even ocean made of stone.
Yeah. That's another show I gotta watch. I gotta watch JoJo's. I gotta start and just binge it.
It's a fun show if you're into it. I mean,
Yeah. We did watch that one episode. I don't remember what part that was. It was the one with like
that was Part 4.
part 4. Yeah, where he just randomly had guns. um. But yeah, I forget what. Was that one where it was like he was like a, what's the word, like a archaeologist or something like that. It's like going through ancient stuff and they were coming after him. I don't know. It reminded me of like Indiana Jones, you know.
Okay, so while you were doing that, I was looking at the real Steel casting to find out when
Oh my
exactly.
god.
Okay, so it happened apparently February 20th, 2010, in New York City, because that's where I was at the time. I was doing it was somewhere in the city at 244 West 54th Street at a studio,
Mhm.
and the casting was for Max, a 10 to 14-year-old boy. That's it. That's all it was.
Sure.
And then no acting experience is necessary for interested actors, nor are they required to prepare anything for the audition. They were just looking to see who they wanted for the boy, and then they would have looked more to like the resume and whatnot, and see what they would make work. Or if there's no acting experience, obviously build that up there for it.
So, what propelled you to want to do this?
Nothing propelled me. My parents were like, "Just go do it. See if you can do it," because
Weird.
it was just a lineup, really. That's all it was.
Yeah, but like,
You didn't need any experience or anything. It was just do it. I thought it was
but
cool to be like, hey, maybe I can be like Hugh Jackman. He's Wolverine.
but did you actually know any of that information? Like,
What?
it was known that this was real steel, and it was known that Hugh
It was known
Jackman.
that it was real still, and it was known it was for the kid. Yes, it was known.
Did you already know that Hugh Jackman was gonna be in it?
Yes, it was known.
I just think it's like it's not normal for 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 you to just be like, oh
It was
yeah,
known that all those things were there. That was the known knowledge. It was like, yes, that these are all here.
but like I feel like you're missing something of like there's something extra that has to be there for you to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna go try this. But like
But like,
you,
see, my kid mind was like, I can be Wolverine though.
okay, I see. Okay,
I was like, I can be Wolverine if I did this. If I got in.
very wrong. But kids are very dumb.
Because like, we're talking about like, this is like it's not like 12-year-old Rayman. He's like, dude, if I can hang out with the Wolverine like every day on set, that sounds cool. It's
It
heck.
does sound cool. I'll be honest. It does. It is pretty cool.
Yeah, Wolverine. That was Freelo.
So I don't know how to segue to this. There's one more thing on the list I thought would be interesting. Is
It's
like,
JoJo's Part 6. It was fun. JoJo's Part 6 is the wild part. This is the part where I think if Michael, this is someone in reference that
mhm,
we know.
Yeah.
Steve, if he was watching JoJo's, this would be his part 6. It's the wacky, wild, crazy part.
It sounds like him. It sounds like you're right on the money with that.
Part 6 is truly an adventure.
I feel like 6 parts in, you just gotta go for it. You know.
Again, like part 6 is like the end of an era. You know what I mean? The end of original JoJo's as you know it, and part 7 is the beginning of an era.
Mm.
Because part 7 wasn't even originally part 7, as we already know. You know, it was originally
Yeah.
just Steel Ball Run,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you telling me that.
and
Like
he
it was gonna be.
respins it into part 7.
Yeah. Has all these ties.
Mhm.
Um. Yeah. I don't know.
Fun stuff.
So. Um. I don't have anything, Ray. I'll be honest. I was trying to think of
Yeah.
something. I don't got nothing. So we're gonna be starting. I don't know if that was clear or not, but we're starting Megalobox and Snafu, right?
Yeah, Megalobox Snafu first 2 episodes.
Correct.
Mhm.
What are your?
I think they're
What are
both
your?
13 episoders actually, so we could do another binge there with that.
Yeah. What are your hype levels for these shows? What are your expectations?
Megalobox, I'm fairly excited for it because I know season 2 is out right now. So I can actually get into, or season 2 just started, so I can get into that
Mm.
after a while. So really hyped for Megalobox, especially because I skipped it. I was planning on watching it. And Snafu, I heard good things about it, so I don't really know where to go off of it, but there's no real expectation set by myself.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that we'd both be excited, or else we wouldn't have picked them. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm kind of similar to you, where Megalobox was a show that was on my list almost immediately, and I just never got around to it. But like every time I see anything from it, it just looks really cool, and people really enjoy it. And then Snafu, I mean, rom-com, it's apparently one of the better ones out there that I never got to, so I assume it's
It's
gonna be
just,
good.
on the list, dude.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Probably with Snafu.
So I actually had another question for you, Ray, and I was gonna ask you this before we started, but I forgot. So we're gonna talk about production stuff on air. Why not? Um, so we have anime, right?
Yeah.
Like as a whole in
Mhm.
existence. We also, I mean, most of our episodes are anime, and then we do MCU stuff, right?
Yeah, we do. Well, it is something that we did do MCU stuff before.
Mm.
Because we're talking about the production of the cast. It is right now. We used to just do what rewatches we did, or just talk about relevant
Um.
MCU stuff whenever it came up.
Yeah.
hmm But now
Um.
we've because of the TV series, we can actually integrate that more regularly.
Yeah.
hmm
And then we also talk about random stuff like JoJo's and apparently how you've tried to be in Real Steel.
You
Um.
brought it up, man.
I mean, I feel like
You
I brought
you
up.
you you unlocked it. You unlocked it.
I
Something I truly
I
would
feel
not have
like
said normally.
I feel like I had the key, but I didn't know there was a lock. Like I didn't know that this key actually went into anything.
The funniest part is the idea of you being like, "Is this a
Dude,
bit?"
at the beginning I was like, "Oh, this is a fun bit." Ray's trying to help me fill time on the podcast. and and we just kept going with it, and then you kept going, and then you said something about how, oh yeah, I forgot I even did this. It like unlocked a memory, and I was like, is Ray doing a bit? Like, wait, I now I'm not sure if this is a bit or not, because in the beginning I was like, oh yeah, this is just some dumb thing that Ray thought of.
To be fair, it is something I would come up with. Just a bit.
Because we've never talked about, and like you've never talked about like trying to become an actor in any other capacity, and so I was like, this is a bit, like, doesn't make any sense. Like there's no way this wouldn't have, like, with the random stuff we've talked about, or even like us and Kevin have talked about, like, there's no way. I don't know.
I mean, I could touch on it like a little more, but it's like it's just nothing that really came up. It's
Sure.
it just didn't amass to anything. So like, there's no point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it.
But like,
Um,
I just forgot about it.
yeah, no, that's fair. Um, yeah, so my whole point in this is like, oh, we do this stuff. There's a break in MCU stuff, right? After Falcon Winter Soldier and before Loki, it's like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that.
People are theorizing because they're crazy, by the way, that the name of the show Falcon Winter Soldier is gonna change over the 6 episodes, and there's
No
gonna be an
way.
episode 7 or whatever.
People said the same thing about WandaVision. They're like, oh, they're actually filming a secret. What was it, like 10th episode or not, whatever it was.
Hmm.
And I was like, nope, they're not. There's no extra episode at the end. There's no special Doctor Strange OVA that we're gonna get.
But you see, the thing is, like Black Widow was pretty concrete though. Well, not Black Widow. WandaVision was pretty concrete. Why would you expect another episode from
Well, like they were theorizing about this in like episode like 6.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, like we're like episode 4 right now. There's only 2 more episodes left. People are like, give us more,
Yeah, yeah,
please.
yeah. Yeah. So my
But
whole
things
point
like the way I see with like Falcon and Winter Soldier, there's a lot of stuff that they can do with this though that they've already added.
oh yeah.
Hmm. Like a lot of different ways this can go.
Yeah, I mean, because with Falcon and Soldier, like, I don't know where the show is ending. And I don't know where it's leading to. Whereas WandaVision, we knew that it was going into Doctor Strange, so as long as we have that connection, we
Hmm.
know, like, we're good, you know? But with Falcon and Soldier, it's like, what, what is the end to this? Like,
It's just progressing our characters.
right, yeah. Is Bucky going to go back to Wakanda in the end?
I really want him to be White Wolf
I think it'd be really cool. It'd be really cool if he did that.
because like that would also like pad on to Black Panther too. Because Black Panther 2, I think, has
Ooh,
has a big issue.
that's interesting. I didn't think about that until you just said it. Like, yeah, what if this leads into Black Panther too?
Like Black Panther 2 has a really big issue with it. The big one being is that like our man's is dead.
Unfortunately, yes, it's
Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace,
yeah, of course, of
is
course.
dead.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Shuri, right, is like the main theory that they're gonna make
People are
Shuri the
saying
next
actually it's like his
Panther.
girlfriend who's gonna be coming in as Black Panther. So they can keep Shuri doing science stuff.
Okay. I feel like they would have to really explain that though, because
Hmm.
his girl isn't really like fleshed out,
There.
you know.
Well, she's they're like on the see the thing is that they were on the verge of fleshing her out. You see, that's the thing.
Right.
They were like working towards it slowly. Like even T'Challa like working and getting her mindset eventually like helping the world, where he was more inclusive, and trying to help Wakanda. He's like, okay, no, this we can make the entire world a better place. So he was working with her at the end there. So he's more really following her vision at the end of Black Panther. But
Hmm.
who knows? White Wolf would be a great thing to add on there to make up for it.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I would love that.
Hmm. It keeps Bucky relevant in the MCU, especially because he hasn't signed off or anything. Like he hasn't like stated anything that he's like done.
Oh yeah, we don't. Yeah, we don't know what he's gonna be doing after this.
Hmm.
I think there was actually an interview recently, or like I don't know, some quote or something where he was like, "Yeah, I'm just happy that people still care about my character. Like
Hmm.
I love playing Bucky. I'm just glad
Hmm.
people care."
Yeah, and White Wolf's a great way to do that because then he could be like doing things in Wakanda. He could be with the Dora Milaje,
Hmm.
doing things there. So
Yeah, no, totally.
it's like with Hawkeye becoming Ronin in like Endgame. It's like just exciting to see.
Yeah, it's just exciting to see for that little bit of
Hmm.
time of like, yeah, this is what he was doing.
Hmm. Like yeah, Hawkeye was doing Ronin. Yeah, Ronin things. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I was gonna say, there's a gap in the MCU after Falcon Winter Soldier. So I was gonna ask you, what do you want to do for that gap? You know what I mean? We're gonna have like a month with no MCU stuff to talk about.
No MCU. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
We may have to go into the backlogs and see if there's anything we can dredge up.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. I just wanted to bring it up. Have you, we got a couple more weeks to think about it, but you know what I mean? Cause yeah, I think this ends 2 episodes, so it's like end of April, and then Loki doesn't start up till like June something, June like 11th. So there's
Mhm.
like 5 weeks with no MCU stuff.
Yeah, I mean, after watching WandaVision, you know what I mean? Because I binged it all, so I mean,
Mm.
very different from me compared to you, where you're doing weekly, you know? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, and like once Loki comes up, we're gonna do that. That's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for that. And then
So
like
excited for Loki.
What If? I'm very excited for What If.
What if you can do a lot of fun stuff with What If? So
Yeah, and they're having like all like original cast members and stuff like who to play their characters.
it's great.
So cool. Yeah, man. How you doing? How you feeling, Ray? I don't got nothing else to talk about, so I'm just gonna.
It's because we doubled up on podcasts, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like
that's true.
when you finally have one that's nice and condensed, like
Yeah.
everything all fits together, you know,
I
you're like
mean, I'm, I feel like
condensed is not really.
I feel like this one was definitely, I was kind of leaning on it being like a finale,
Mhm.
of like, oh yeah, and it was, we talked about Cells at Work for exactly how long we should have,
Yeah,
and
exactly. So
then
same thing that doesn't work as always.
yeah, and then Wonder Egg we talked
Mhm.
about for a while, as we should have.
The Cells at Work fans really don't like us.
Listen, it's not that it's a bad show, it's that it's a boring show. Okay, there's a
There's not
difference.
much to discuss because the show explains itself so well.
And
It's self-explanatory. You know what I mean? Like, you
have
saw
you
what
ever
that was.
watched?
Great. You know, there's nothing really to dive more into.
You ever watch Osmosis Jones? Well, then you've seen a better version of Cells at Black. Cells at Work.
It's Osmosis Jones is so good. We'll give it a watch. You'll love it so much.
It's like when you watch Teen Titans and you watch Teen Titans Go. It's like, this is fine, but the other one was
But it
better.
could be better.
Could be. What's that? What's that meme with like the cars? It's like this one is fine, but I like this one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know memes.
There's a cool subreddit for you. I know you'd love it.
Ooh, okay,
Okay, it's Pukicho.
okay. What is the subreddit?
Oh, so this one is let me see here.
Well, Ray's looking that up. I just want to let everyone know that you should read Invincible. I started reading Invincible, so I have a confession to make, Ray. I didn't read the manga because I've been reading Invincible.
Okay.
But this week, since we finished our anime, I will read the manga because I think
Mhm.
that'll be a good time.
Yeah, Pukicho is like it's a subreddit of this one guy, Pukicho, who comments via uh Tumblr or Twitter, and they be funny stuff.
Okay, I like funny stuff.
Hmm. Like I
I've
mean, like
watched.
you've seen some of his comments before. I know you have.
Oh yeah, probably.
Like it's just that you haven't like realized that it was all this one guy who was making these dumb comments over and over again, via Tumblr or Twitter, and
Mhm.
having them be like, blown up virally.
Yeah,
So I will write it in the general chat here. Um, Pukicho.
I was I don't know if you have anything more on that, Ray. I don't.
No,
I don't want to
that
cut
is
you
it.
off.
That's all I got for you. It's something that's cool for you. Maybe go through a little bit of the Reddit, laugh, give it some good laughs there.
Before before we started recording today, I was listening to one of my favorite channels is Kind of Funny, right? And I'm just gonna steal their content because that's why not? They were doing a podcast with Jerry O'Connell, I think his name
Are
is.
we getting Jerry O'Connell?
Didn't want to ruin the surprise, Ray, but hey, we just did. So, um, that is the dude who you and I probably know him from Kangaroo Jack. He's the white guy, the white main character.
First of all, I will say, Kangaroo Jack, by the way, great movie series.
Awesome.
Both Kangaroo Jack 1 and 2. Um,
I just wanted to mention it because like he seems like a really cool dude, and the big thing that came out of this was that there's an R-rated cut of Kangaroo Jack
What?
because apparently Kangaroo Jack initially R-rated, and when it went into test screenings, parents were like, "Oh, I don't like this," and they were like, "I mean, it's R-rated. I mean, you shouldn't bring your kids to it." And the parents were like, "But there's a kangaroo, and you can't make R-rated with a kangaroo." And the producers were like, "Yeah, you right," and they made it PG instead. And that's just a funny story, you know. You all should go listen to that podcast because it's really good and really funny. And I will continue stealing content from other creators.
That's how you rise in the world. You take their content and become stronger, better.
You consume the content and then you regurgitate the content.
This content cycle continues.
Why are they taking away the dislike button? Probably that's why. That's probably why.
They ain't with it, dude. Maybe they could be. They wanted to.
So Ray, I don't have anything else. I just want to reiterate what we're doing for next time. We're doing first 2 episodes of Megalobox, 2 episodes of Snafu. I will read those manga. Can you repeat what the two names were?
My Broken Mariko and Stripping the Flesh.
Okay, and one is a one shot, and the other one is like 6 chapters. So
Yeah, Stripping the Flesh
super
is
quick.
one shot.
We're doing Falcon Winter Soldier semi-finale, episode 5, and I don't know, maybe more stuff. I mean that's already pretty packed, but we'll figure it out, you know. Maybe Ray will finally.
Maybe I will be reading Invincible. Who knows? Maybe I will
Ooh,
be.
that'd be interesting. Maybe Ray will finally watch Queen's Gambit, like you said he'd do 2 months ago.
You know, let me write that down here as well. You know, Queen's Gambit.
You don't really have to watch it this week, Ray, but it's just something I thought of.
Queen's Gambit.
Maybe Ray's scared because he knows he can't beat me in chess.
That could be true. It could be false. Who knows?
I actually don't know.
It's been years since we both played chess. Like,
yeah,
actually,
it has been a while.
legitimately, we are gonna be like so dusty that it's actually
So
like
rusty,
a toss up.
It's like what does the pawn do again?
It can go across the entire board. Actually,
no rules. You know, Ray.
Anarchy chess.
Everyone talks about the queen, right?
Yeah.
Queen's the best piece. I think low key, knight is the best piece. Knight is so, you can't just track what a knight's gonna do. It could do anything.
I mean, you can literally tracked.
Mathematically, scientists have studied this for years. You can't.
I mean, a knight's pattern is like kind of like ridiculous, right? But like in a game of chess, you have an idea of where it's going, because there's only so many moves it can do.
I feel like a knight.
And that makes sense logically. If you make a wrong position with your knight, then it's just like, well, then really, did that really help you at all?
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess in theory, yes, there's like ridiculous amount of combinations of moves it can do to get to like a certain spot.
I feel like there's like certain moves that when you get hit with them, you feel really dumb. Like I forget what it's called. I know there's a name for it, but it's like when a knight hits you and it's in the spot that you're in check, but it's also in a position to take one of your valuable pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh man, gotta move my king because okay, so here's the reason why the knight is the craziest piece. You can't block a knight.
Yeah, you can't.
Which that's nuts. You can't put anything in front of it. If you're in check, you have to move your king or take the knight. Yeah. But like you have to move it.
You have to react to it. You can't play defensively with it. You have to work around it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nuts.
Because queens and rooks and bishops, they can pin your pieces though because of that.
Yeah,
which is also the advantage of that. Where it's like now this piece is tied here. Mm-hmm. Unless you do something else.
You ever played backgammon?
No, I never played backgammon.
Mm.
That's a lie. I played backgammon, I think, like digitally, not physically. So I don't actually know the rules.
You didn't really hold that lie for very long.
It's like I don't think I actually know the rules of backgammon. It's like I played it like once, like on a computer. And it's like, yeah, that's it. And then I just never played it again, so I don't know the rules.
My aunt was really into backgammon. We played it.
Really?
That's the end of that story. No, I I don't know how to play backgammon either. If I would try it today, I'd be like, I don't know. There's like a board with like triangles and circles. I don't know, a lot of shapes, a lot of colors.
Hmm. Apparently, backgammon goes hard. Apparently,
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't know.
I believe it. One game that always confused me, and it was referenced in my mind so much in like media, is Parcheesi. You know what I'm talking about?
Isn't Parcheesi just sorry?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, Ray.
I
I've
think
heard
Parcheesi is
people
just sorry. They
I've
just
heard
like
people say the
rebranded.
name so many times, and then I look at the board and there's a lot of colors. There's a lot of colors, and I'm just like, I don't know what path. I don't know what this is. A lot of stuff going on, you know.
Parcheesi is just sorry, right?
I couldn't
Yeah,
tell you.
Parcheesi is literally just sorry.
Why have that and sorry? Blows my
Well,
mind.
'cause I guess sorry is supposed to like have you draw cards, and then Parcheesi just roll dice. And if you roll dice playing sorry, I guess like also I guess trouble as well is in the same category.
Trouble, yeah.
Yeah, because trouble you just hit the bubble trouble. But it's the same game though.
That is true, yeah.
So that's Parcheesi. I just thought they're the same thing. So there you go.
How much? Yeah, okay, never mind. It's like how much? Some games have too much luck, you know. Like
Parcheesi.
you ever play Candyland?
Keeneland is 100% luck
There
based.
is absolutely no strategy to Candyland. You just pick a card and you go where it says.
It is 100% luck based, but that is why it is so picked as like a good children board game, because you're teaching them the basics of a board game.
Yeah, you don't
This
have to
is
think.
board, this is card. You move piece with card.
Crazy. Board games are
Shoots and ladders
crazy.
also works the same way too. It's maybe better to play shoots and ladders.
Um,
Roll
yeah,
dice,
yeah, that's true. It's just
move up,
dice.
move down.
There's no
It's
like
like in sim.
pads.
It's I consider it like a simple board game. You know what I mean? To teach someone. It's like
You
these
ever
are
get hit?
elements, and you can work past that. Flood it.
You ever get hit with that like really long shoot, like at the top, and it brings you all the way back down to the bottom? That's like,
Like
man,
you take that
just,
ladder all the way up, and then you roll again. And you
yeah, just throw the whole board game out at that point. You know, there's no coming back from that.
playing Candyland with Michael. I think it was like a month ago, or whatever, because we were bored. We're like, let's show up Candyland. I think like he got like the one card that takes him to like the final space, the final
Mhm.
checkpoint.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, yes, yes. Then like I think a couple turns like he drew the other card that takes him all the way back to the first checkpoint.
Ooh, that's tough.
It's like, dude, like I mean, you were up front, you were number one, but you're back here now.
Yeah, you're back here with us, the losers.
You're back with us. This is where it's at now. I think of those games like Candyland and like Shoots and Ladders like a learning experience for children.
Yeah.
Shoots and Ladders teaches children how to count, and then like Candyland is like you need the colors or like symbols, I
Mhm.
guess. This you got
Mhm.
here.
Yeah. You ever play Cranium?
I have dabbled in Zacranium.
Cranium was always wild because it was like a mishmash of a bunch of different things.
No, I don't own Cranium. Cranium is you're right. It's a bunch of mini games like in one game.
Yeah, basically. There was,
It's all about point scoring.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, I played Cranium at a cousin's house, and it's wild. Cranium shenanigans are had.
it is, yeah. I don't really know of any other board games that I played.
I'm saying card games. I mean, I played Gin Rummy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Rummy's great.
Do people play actual Rummy? Because I don't play actual. I play Gin Rummy. Don't know.
Um, aren't they pretty much the same thing except like one, you don't put your cards down, you leave them all in your hand?
Yeah, Gin Rummy, you keep it all in your hand.
Yeah. I know like as a kid I learned to play Rummy because that was easier to like have everything on the table and, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah.
You know, it's like Rummy, but for like grown ups, like absolute top tiers. It's Mahjong.
Okay, sure.
Mahjong is just like rummy, except there's like way more things going on at once.
Isn't mahjong the thing where you match tiles?
See, that's what they have you think, right?
Okay.
Like there's two types of mahjong. There's like the mahjong that's like matching, and there's like mahjong that you play with like other people.
Okay. So what's like pinochle? What's that?
I never played Pinochle.
Okay. Yeah.
It was brought up in Falcon Winter Soldier, and I'm like, every time I hear this game, dude, I just feel like, because like, kid you not, first time I heard of Pinochle was like in Percy Jackson.
Oh,
It's a
sure,
wee
sure,
lad,
sure. Yeah.
you know. It's like Pinochle, it sounds fun. Never played it, because Grover's playing with Kyron. They're like
Mhm.
playing together.
I always pronounced it satire.
The satyrs.
Yeah. Until I was older and I was like, oh, it's satyr.
Satyr.
Like you understand where I came from,
No,
though,
I
right?
understand. I understand. Like, when I can't fault people for saying things wrong if they're reading. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if it's the
If
first
you're if
time you've
you're, if
ever
you're not
seen
going
that
to pick up
word.
a dictionary, like if it's like a difficult word, and you're not picking up a dictionary, you're just reading it off there. Can't fault you for that. You know what I mean? Like when you say it wrong, because you were just reading it off something. It's fine. You're forgiven. It's when people then tell you how to pronounce it, and then your ignorance is like, I choose to say it this way, even though
Sure.
it's completely incorrect. At what point I'm like, you're just an idiot. You are.
I want to ask you something about reading, okay? Very exciting topics here on this podcast.
We really have.
Um so I think maybe we've talked about this before. I don't know if on the podcast though, but when you read, do you do you visualize the story in your head?
There would be times I would, and times I don't. Most of the time, I don't think I do visualize.
Okay. Because it's a very interesting thing, right? Again, I think we've touched on things similar to this before about how like
Mm-hmm.
people's brains work differently, and it's crazy when you explain something to someone and it's like, oh no, I don't do that at all. I mean, the same thing with like something we definitely talked about before, where colors could look completely different to me and you, but because they're always assigned to the same color,
Range, yeah,
yeah,
it's gonna
like
be like,
yeah. So what I'm seeing could be completely different from your seeing, but we still use the same words and it doesn't look weird because it all like matches up with each other.
yeah, there's like a range of colors that are red, and as long as it's
Mhm.
in there, then you're not like crazy.
Right. Because if you explain red, you say, oh, the color of that apple, and it's like we both see, So I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like, so it's similar to this where some people can't visualize a book, right? Like they can't read words and then that become images in their head. They just read the words and they just understand what those words mean. Whereas other people read a book and it would be like a movie playing in their head basically. And then there's like a range where like some people are kind of in the middle, they're kind of more towards this, more towards that.
Yeah, I would
But
say like most of the time I do read, I don't visualize anything. But then if I think about it, sometimes like afterwards,
mm,
I'll like find a way to put it together, or like sometimes maybe I'll try to build it in my head as it's going on.
mm, yeah, I'd say I definitely lean towards visualizing. I can't I can't do it all the way, like some things get a little muddy. Like I'd say
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 70% visualized where like I definitely try to imagine the scene as if it was like a movie or like a TV show or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's kind of similar to like what is it? Some people don't. Some people do, or they don't have like an inner voice, an inner monologue, right? So when you think, some people just think things. They just think about words or maybe even images in their mind. But then other people, when they think, they actually have a voice that speaks in their head, that is kind of interpreting their thoughts.
That's crazy. The best thing about the voice in your head, it's not your voice.
Yeah, I know. It's different, yeah.
And the crazy thing is the voice can be any voice you want.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You can imagine any voice. But yeah, I just find that fascinating of like people's brains work differently, which is kind of a simple idea, but you never really think about it until you have to, you know?
Once again, we ask the real questions on this podcast.
Yeah. Or it's like if you think of an apple, do you think of the word apple? Do you think of like a photorealistic image of an apple?
I
Do
think if
you
you ask me questions, I'll be more visually inclined. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think of when you see this? When like,
right?
because like it would be abstract to me to think of the word first. If
Sure.
it's like an object, you know?
But like if you were to try to picture an apple in your head, is it like is your brain conjuring up what they know an apple looks like, or are
Yeah.
you, or do you actually think of a picture of an apple, or is it just like kind of like the idea of an apple?
Like when
You
you
know what
said
I mean?
apple to me, right? The first thing that came to my mind was an apple. I'm not sure if it was like a picture of an apple I brought up, but it was definitely like an apple. Like,
Sure, sure, sure,
like first that came to mind was like a red apple, but then like my head switched to a green apple.
sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
You know,
Just to be like,
apples
well,
are,
like that, just to be like, well, not apples are red.
and it's again it's that thing where
Mhm.
if you know the intent of the question, then your brain
Mhm.
tries to either immediately fill the intent or to go
Mhm.
against it to be like, oh no, it's not that, it's this.
Mhm.
You know what I
But
mean?
like, I'm definitely more visually inclined if like you ask me something that like if it's a noun, like what do you think of this? I'd like think about it. It depends on the situation. Like if you're asking me like to visualize it, or like how do you think this would look? Well then you got like imagine in your head how that looks.
Sure. Yeah.
Because like there's a difference of like speaking about something and then like going over something, I guess mentally.
I'd say that I definitely lean towards like not photorealistic images. I definitely think of things in like like a cartoon sense. Like if I were to think of an apple, I'd probably think of a cartoon rendition of an apple before I think of an image like an actual real life apple. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that's probably easier for my brain to be like, oh, it's just a drawing of an apple. You know what I mean? Instead of like,
No,
oh, here's yeah,
no, I get what you're saying. It's like this is Apple. At least it's an apple, right? In the most like common sense. And like if you needed to go further past that, you would like obviously need to add detail to it, then you would.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
You
But yes,
ever? How often would you say you dream? Or I
let
guess
me
like you, or I guess
because
like
I know I dream. Let me hear this. I don't think I remember them. I think a
I
couple
guess
nights
like
ago, I
um
dream, and I woke up remembering something from it.
mhm,
But I was like, what does it mean though? Because I don't remember the dream.
sure, yeah.
Like there's like this quote in my head that I was like remembering. And I was like, well, why does that? Why am I saying this quote if I don't remember the dream? Was what I was thinking. I was like, I just got out this dream and I don't remember what this is from.
There's a lot of times where I wake up, you know, generally,
Mhm.
and I kind of think like, man, that was clever. But like not like the like contents of the dream, because I was like, whatever, who cares? 'Cause I remember reading somewhere that your brain, like all the people in your dream, like if there's
You've
any
seen,
people,
right?
yeah, you've already seen them before at some point. But there have definitely been times where I've noticed that my brain tries to trick me, or trick itself, I guess, I don't know.
Hmm.
And it's like that person was a mixture of two different people.
Hmm.
So like my brain tries to get clever, and it's like, oh, you've never seen this person before, and it's like, you're right, I haven't, but that's because that
It's
person
only made
doesn't
from things I've
exist.
seen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an amalgamation. I just remember getting feelings like that, and I'm like, ah, it's clever, but I've seen it, you know. But yeah, I mean, there are definitely people who say they never dream, like ever, which is false. Everyone dreams. It's just that
Can you
some
recall
people,
them or not?
yeah, some
Yeah.
people never remember them. They just remember like black for I don't know, a few seconds or something, and then they
Hmm.
wake up.
Yeah, it was like you can tell like if you're learning a language, right, and you start dreaming in another language that you're learning, it's already showing like I guess mental memory and
Right.
like understanding.
It's like retention.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like it's actually hitting you, and you're actually like, you know, it's
understand.
actually Yeah,
if
yeah,
because
yeah.
you're able to understand the dream enough that those words come up,
Sure.
like subconsciously.
I'm trying to think if I've ever done that. Because, like, I took Spanish for like 4 years. Um, I don't know if I've ever dreamed in Spanish, though. Or, like, anyone in my dream has ever spoken Spanish.
I think for the most part in my dreams, like I speak obviously English. If anything does come out, it's like a joke. It may be like an hola or bonjour
Sure, sure.
that gets tossed in.
Well, that's because, like, you've done stuff like that before.
It's just a classic though. It's a word that's like known though. You know what I mean? Like you
Mm-hmm.
keep that. Like it's just another way to greet and all that stuff. Or if anything does come back, it may be like any like standard greetings I use at home with Arabic, but that's like about it though. Like I don't speak Arabic at home.
Mm-hmm.
I
Me
speak
neither.
English. Yeah, because my parents don't speak Arabic, we just read. So it's like it's different. Maybe I should ask like Wahid or Kui that question. See what they give me.
Oh, yeah, that could be interesting. Because, yeah, like, kind of off of that, like, there are people who, they speak, I don't want to say their native language because that's not quite true, but, like, their family's language, I guess. I don't know how to say it, but
Like at home, right?
yeah, they do it at home. That they only speak that when they're home, but then when they're out, they speak English as like a courtesy, I guess,
Mhm.
to the dumb Americans who aren't accepting.
Let's see. I mean, like based on like Wahid, I think like just generally speaks English at home, and his parents do as well.
Mm.
But I guess like there's like I guess like some like older family members don't, so like he has to like speak with them.
Well, imagine like
Otherwise,
in situations like that, if you moved over to this country and
hmm
I imagine after a while speaking like having to speak English in public for 10 years 15 years, like you just kind of get used to it, and
hmm
I'm sure that's over time I'm sure it's very easy to speak your native language less and less and speak English more and more even at home.
hmm
Whereas I'm sure there's other people that who feel like they want to keep that alive, and they're like, no, we're going to speak our language at home, and because you need to learn it, and to keep their heritage, their culture, all that stuff.
hmm like I mean like just to like say something against that too. Like if you already know the language, it's not a big deal. Like if you grew up with it, it's your native language, you're not gonna forget it really.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah.
It's like it's just in you, you're just not using it.
Mm-hmm.
Language is weird, dude.
It
Again,
is.
the entire concept
Yeah.
of meaning stuff.
Yeah, you're talking about earlier of like the borders. Like it's weird we have different languages.
This is the Big Brain Podcast episode.
Why do we make it so difficult? Why is there 100 languages?
Well, it's because like different people are from everywhere, and everywhere thinks differently.
But it's so wrong. Like it's so dumb. I wouldn't even care, like I'm not saying make English the universal language. Make anything the universal language. Just make something the universal
hmm
language. So we can all learn it, and then we all
hmm
be able to talk to each other, be great. And then over generations, like that language will become more and more just like more accessible,
hmm
and kids will learn it, and that'll be it, rather than you know me learning English my whole life and then German being the new language, so now I gotta learn it.
hmm
You know,
That's what it be. That's what it be.
German probably wouldn't be the language, by the way, and probably wouldn't be that. It'd probably be like Mandarin or English, probably one of those two, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So Ray, I don't have anything else, Ray. So
No, no, that's all I got, dude. We really we got this.
okay, so yeah, so remember everyone, watch that stuff. We're gonna have a good time doing that. New shows, man. Old, not old. Finales of shows, very very exciting, but almost just as exciting is starting new stuff. And I have higher hopes for for both Megalobox and Snafu than some
I'm
of
very
our
excited.
previous shows. Um, So yeah, man. I guess that's it. Um, see you hopefully next week, as long as nothing goes wrong. A meteor doesn't hit Earth. We should definitely be recording another episode.
You'll be good.
Yes.
We will have so much fun. Again, anime, Falcon Winter Soldier, potential manga, potential Invincible comic for me. Who knows? Maybe I'll do Queen's Gambit. We'll find. It's an adventure, really, every time.
Ooh, crazy.
You never know.
All right. Well, have fun. I'll just see you next week. That's it.